Hello, everyone. Welcome to the South Burlington Development Review Board, Tuesday, March 3rd. My name is Mark Baer. I am the very temporarily acting chair for tonight. Our chair and vice chair are unavailable, so please be patient. I haven't done this in about a decade, but hopefully it's like riding a bike. So I don't have cheat sheets like Dawn used to about all the things, so I'm going to kind of wing it. So if there's an event of an emergency, go out one of these doors and go outside. I have with me tonight, I have Ted Lenski, Charlie Johnston, Jody Lesko, and myself, Marla Keene, and I'm sorry, Alex with me from the South Burlington staff. We have a very full agenda with here tonight. So we're probably going to be going all the way till 10 o'clock, but I want to make sure that everyone gets heard. In that event, we have the first two items on the agenda are kind of combined that tie together. So we're probably going to use a certain amount of time to make sure we get through the majority of the comments in it. I want to make sure that we have time for members of the public to speak. When that time comes, I want people to limit their comments to about 3 minutes. Try not to repeat what another neighbor or member of the public said. We also have comments you can submit in writing that'll become part of the packet. And yeah, so I think anything else, Marlon?
Dawn just joined the meeting as well.
Oh, okay.
So I invited her to speak and use her camera if she'd like to do.
Okay. All right, Dawn, I hope I don't mess up too badly. So that said, let's see, we did one. Oh, any additions, deletions, or changes in the order of the agenda items?
No.
Nope. Okay, moving on. Number 2, any announcements?
No.
All right. Any comments and questions from the public not related to the agenda? Okay. If not, we'll move on to item number 5, which is final plat application SD 2601 of, you're muted, Dawn, you're muted.
I think you could just press the space bar to temporarily unmute, Dawn.
It's on an iPad.
Does that not work? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah, we can.
Okay. Mark, I'm sorry. I missed most of your introduction. Did you remind people that this is a very heavy agenda and that there will be time? Okay, good.
And to be patient with me.
Okay. And I also wanted to say that because I'm on the Habitat for Humanity board of directors, I'm recused from the first 3 programs, but I will be watching. So thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
And Dawn Philibert joining us online. So can you speak again, Dawn? Just say hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Okay,
good.
you can. Now I'm going to unmute. I'm going to mute.
Sounds good. Okay. Now, am I really loud?
You're fine, right?
Okay.
I think your microphone's picking up me, but that's fine. I can turn the room volume down if you just
have an outside voice to begin with. All right, so moving on. Item number 5. Final plat application SD 2601 of Green Mountain Habitat for Humanity to subdivide an existing 36.2 acre lot developed with a single family home, a barn, and a tennis court into 2 lots of 34.2 acres, lot number 1, and 2.0 acres, lot number 2, and demolish the existing structures for the purposes of developing lot number 2 to be reviewed under separate site plan application 1720 Spear Street. Who's here for the applicant?
Brian Courier, O'Leary Burke Civil Associates.
Okay.
Tom Bellavance, owner of Northeast Agricultural Trust, owner of the land.
Okay.
David Mullen with Green Mountain Habitat for Humanity.
Sounds good. Anyone else in the audience planning on? Don't need to speak to make a comment, but are you going to be speaking on behalf of the application? Anyone online? Okay. Then if you raise your right hand, we can swear you in. Do you swear that the testimony you'll give the board on this matter is the truth, nothing but the truth, under penalty of perjury?
I do. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Why don't you give us a little summary of what you're looking to do? I know this is a very heavy comments item. There's a few items from the sketch plan that we're going to address first, then go through the comments one by one. make sure that we have time for the public to speak. If we don't get through, all of the comments, we're going to try to. We probably will end up continuing both item number 1 and item number 2 at the same time, since they're sort of contingent upon each other. Just want to make sure the applicant is comfortable with that proposal.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you give us a little quick summary? We have a lot to cover. Why don't you let us know?
Yep. So this is just the subdivision associated with the next application, but it's a simple 2-lot subdivision. There's a 2-acre parcel being created along Spear, at the corner of Spear and South Point. The balance of the acreage, roughly 36 acres in the rear, and a 50-foot right-of-way is being proposed as part of the subdivision on the east side of the 2-acre lot. But that's the simple part of the subdivision.
Yeah. So. Okay. All right. In June, you had a sketch plan, June of 2025. There's a sketch plan application. Seems like there's 3 items that came out of that sketch plan application. And some of them were addressed, some of them were not, but we definitely need to discuss them so that we can address them moving forward with the project.
Yep.
They were the buildable area, lot number 1 roadway and shared use path, and lot number 2 roadway. So the issues, you've had a chance to review the staff comments?
We have.
Okay. So the main issue number 1, buildable area. Specific issue at hand is that the applicant stated that the buildable area of lot 1 is 2.8 acres, but provided plans are insufficient to demonstrate that this computation has been performed correctly. The staff comment is that in order to determine the buildable area, they need specific recommendations of the board require the applicant to show on one plan the entirety of the existing lot, the proposed subdivision, the zoning district boundaries, the applicable overlay districts, mapped wetlands, calculated wetland buffers, proposed lot 2 roadway and right of way, and lot number 1 official map roadway and recreation path with a joint right of way width of 64 feet. Supporting discussion of this recommendation is included throughout this report. So it looks like we're going to need in the continued application some additional information.
Yep, we submitted a buildable plan earlier today.
Okay.
Yep.
Do we have that plan to take a look at to discuss?
Yep. So the area that's shaded green is the balance of lot 1. To the east of the green, I'm showing a 50-foot right of way. So when we come back, we'll be sure to update it 64. But
yeah,
for this purpose, I think it meets the intent. And then to the east of that green area is the NRP district. So that's not buildable on the low side of that right of way. So the hatched area is the plan view of the 2.8 acres that was stated as buildable area.
Okay.
Brian, I had the opportunity to spend a little more time with this than board members have, so I'm gonna point out something I noticed and for their benefit.
Sure.
West of the class 3 wetland, but east of the proposed lot line is not shaded green. Is there a reason that's excluded from buildable area?
Nope, we certainly can include that little corner. Yep.
Okay. So yeah.
Yep. No, thanks for pointing it out. Yep.
Okay. Good. Yeah, and add that to your calculation. And they may end up being a wash once you add the whether it's 7 or 14 feet, depending on which direction you go.
Yeah,
64 foot.
I think the takeaway too is will be more than 2 acres.
Right. Yes, it'll still be.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So that was item number 1, the buildable area. Marla, does that seem satisfied moving forward, that item?
Yep, and the reason we highlighted it is like one of the central issues is it feeds into several other comments. So now that we have this information, it'll affect how some of the other comments are looked at.
Yeah. Anyone board have any comments or questions about this? Okay.
Oh, before we move on, I thought we were at the sketch plan. We also talked that there needs to be a right of way to lot 2 as well, right? There's the right of way for connecting the roads, the right of way for the lot that you're looking to subdivide, but then there has to be a right of way connection to lot 2 to provide access for connectivity. No, it's the 7.
Oh, right. But from the blue hashed into
It does not be from the blue hatch, right? We talked, it could be coming from the connector right away at the bifurcation of the lot.
So you're saying right away running east-west from the right of way at the rear of lot 2 and the right of way connecting South Point and South Village?
Yep, that's what we talked about in June.
Yeah, it certainly gets narrow on the northern part of the rear of lot 1. You know, looks like it's 64 feet, but maybe just barely at that pinch point there in order to get a right of way from the front to the back. My personal opinion is I don't see how this lot 1 would be developed in that manner, basically running a roadway immediately behind all the houses on South Point without creating any buildable area, basically until you pass that pinch point. I think that layout may be unrealistic.
Okay. I understand there's
Happy to
another
hear
yeah, I understand there's another application, right?
Yep.
But when we saw the sketch plan, we weren't aware of that application, right?
Sure.
So when we talked about in June was there's the blue right of way access for this lot, right of way access for the road, and then right of way access to the back of.
Yep.
730, right?
Yep. Yes, and I guess what I'm
Say-
saying is the right of way running east-west when we're just looking at lot 1 individually, given the shape of lot 1, I think it's unrealistic to think a road would be run east-west along the back of South Point. You know, if lot 1 and lot 4 were, and that's getting to the other application, but that you mentioned, if those two were merged, then certainly I could see some configuration like that. But in the current state, just as this is now, I don't see an east-west road, given what we're looking at on the screen right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you that in its current configuration, without taking into account the additional parcel to the south, that will be subject to.
And that may change when we come back to you,
Right.
but for right now.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you've got enough land that touches upon the right of way for lot 2 and the new 64-foot easement right away.
Yep.
To allow for access. Okay. Probably okay. All right. Yes, maybe it's a future problem. And it's a future problem for this evening, so.
Before we get too deep into this, I was wondering if I could just make sure everybody's 100% on the same page about what lots are which.
Mhm.
Okay, so Alex, if I could point to your finger for me, where your cursor is now is referred to as lot 1, where the word pavement to be removed, that's lot 2.
Yep.
Lot 3 is 1730 Spear Street, which is
Existing
directly
house.
south, and lot 4 is the remainder of, where your cursor is now.
Yep.
Okay, just making sure everybody's 100% on the same.
Which will be subject to
Also,
future discussion.
Yep.
for this application, lot 1 also includes everything on the other.
Right,
east
lot 1 is
Right.
bigger than what's
Yeah.
shown on the screen.
Lot 1 is 30 acres because there's a lot. of
Not
land.
developable land.
Race wants 3.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this application and the next site plan application pertain to lots 1 and 2.
And then.
Yep.
Yeah, item number 3 or whatever number it is. That pertains to 3 and 4 as well as future potential development connections. Yeah, okay. All right, so then let's move on to the second item, which is lot 1 roadway and shared use path. That is there's specific issues. The specific issue at hand is that the applicant has failed to provide right of way for the official map features in the application. There's several items that need to be added to the map that are part of the regulations. I'm just gonna read the staff comment. In no time has the applicant indicated opposition to future development on the proposed lot 1 being served by the official map roadway and recreation path. However, they have failed to make any provisions, therefore, in their proposed subdivision prior to close the hearing, which will be tonight. We'll be continuing this.
Understood.
Staff recommends the board require an applicant to provide an irrevocable offer of dedication and warranty deed to the proposed road and planned recreation path or trail consisting of a 64-foot right of way connecting the existing city right of way of Upswept Lane to the north of North Jefferson Road And to show the right of way on all plans and plats associated with the proposed subdivision.
Yep, so I believe this was discussed at sketch, and the applicant remains with the opinion that that right of way from North Jefferson to Upswept, it's roughly 1,000 feet from the subdivision that's being proposed.
Okay.
Even the site plan that's on our next agenda is at the corner of Spear and South Point. I understand that the roadway is part of the city's overall planned street network along with the recreation path. I understand that, but it's roughly 1,000 feet away from where development's being proposed. What we would propose is that that right of way is not granted at this time, or an irrevocable offer for a right of way is not granted at this time. We are proposing the right of way at the rear of lot 2, which was requested and will be utilized and is adjacent to the development that is being proposed. But this one's just so far away. It would be our desire for the board to mandate that right of way be granted as part of future development proposal for what will be lot 1 and potentially lot 4, which we don't have plans for at this time, but we feel there's such a large chunk of land that is directly adjacent to that right of way. You know, we don't see the city constructing the roadway in the interim with, you know, that right for development. I think it's a matter of when, not if. We would just like the we'd like to include that in the future development application, not as part of the proposal that's in front of you right now.
Marla, is that an option or is that a requirement that the city is looking to have added?
It's brought up a bunch of other times, so these 3 issues were meant to be sort of summaries. I'd rather not speak off the top of my head about the exact language, but I would say it is a requirement that it be provided for the city standards, and those standards are enumerated.
Okay,
in the
this is just a
report.
summary of the issues.
Yep.
It gets into the specifics further with the staff comments, so
Okay.
we can put a pin in that for further discussion.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, and then the next one is the lot number 2 roadway. That's going to be built on the east side, north-south of lot number 2.
Yep.
Basically, you're proposing it as a private driveway. It needs to be built as a city street for future development, and it needs to go to the property line.
Yeah, and that's I understand that staff's comment in here. Now, a public road isn't required in order to serve 12 units, right? The right of way is being dedicated to preserve
Units to 12 units. Okay, hold on.
We'll get to there, but there's no provision for private roads for residential development any longer in the regulations. That was the recent change.
Okay.
So the right of way is preserving the development potential for the southern lot, which I believe was the board's intention in requiring that. So an irrevocable offer has been submitted. We will submit a deed also to be reviewed and approved by the town attorney. But until that road is extended and constructed to public standards, we don't see the city taking ownership of that road anytime soon. Time being, we would like the board to allow us to construct a private drive. Now, we're willing to construct the 20-foot wide private drive with a base that meets city standards. So at some point in the future, it can be widened. I understand curb might not be required anymore, but under drains can be added. Sidewalk provisions can certainly be included. The 50-foot right of way is already there. We're running utilities through it already. So we're teeing it up for a future expansion into a public road, but the development that's being proposed at this time, being a 12-unit Habitat for Humanity project, our preference, a strong preference, would be to leave it as a private drive to access that site. And if and when the need arises for that to be upgraded to a public road, it would be borne by the development of, lots 1 and 4, the rear of the meat of the parcel.
What would be required? You prefaced all this saying you're going to basically build it out so it would meet the city standard. What would be required?
Just the base. So the pavement lift, we'd likely do 1 lift instead of 2, but the base of the road. So if city standards are 24 inches of dense graded gravel, we would build that as our base. Obviously, once pavement down, that's awfully hard to change, right? but widening that footprint and adding curb or sidewalks, all that can be done after and borne by a larger project on lots 1 and 4, rather than the habitat project located on lot 2.
Okay.
So
It sounds,
yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I think we have differing of opinion, and I think there's some regulations that we'll discuss later in the application.
Okay.
But I hear what you're saying. I put a pin in it, pick the other one.
Okay.
Okay. I see that there was an issue with public notice, butters list.
Yeah, so so our abutter to the north is the South Point Homeowner Association.
Mhm.
Okay, because their footprint lots are limited. I don't know exactly how they're organized, but it's where abutter is the common land. So we did notice the HOA. We got notice from the city that a couple of our what I call courtesy emails, or not emails, but courtesy abutter notices that were sent to the immediate homes that are closest to us.
Yeah.
1 or 2 of them went to a former owner, as there was a recent sale in the last couple of months. So once we had that knowledge and we learned there was potential concerns in the neighborhood, we submitted abutters notices to every individual in South Point, just to go over the top and cover our bases.
And that,
Right.
sorry, that occurred 15 days before this hearing? For this date?
I believe that we noticed the HOA, that meets the requirement. We resent our courtesy emails or our courtesy abutters notices to everyone. But we believe sending a butters notice to the state registered homeowner association address, which was not returned, met the butter notice requirement. Now we understand we're being continued. So there will be another meeting. All those notices to the entirety of the neighborhood have been sent out. I haven't gotten any back.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like that's what we're basically noting, that there was an issue with it. We're going to continue it anyway, which will for the cure for making sure that everyone did get in the better notice list. So
Thank you.
Just a discussion point.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Zoning district and dimensional standards. So I think this is the issue that let me just read the comment here. The applicant has provided a site plan indicating the location of class 3 wetlands and its 50-foot buffer relative to the proposed lot line. However, this plan does not show the entirety of the LSN portion of lot number 1. Therefore, staff cannot ascertain whether lot 1 can be developed in compliance with the regulations as summarized above pertaining to the buildable area. Prior to closing the hearing, staff recommends the board require the applicant to show on a single plan the habitable LSN portion of lot 1 and its relationship to the area restricted from development due to all protected natural resources, official map features, and zoning district regulations. So was this the map that we saw that they submitted?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Did you have anything to add?
That was my intent with the plan.
Okay. All right. Anyone on the board have any comments or questions about that? Okay. All right. Okay, moving on. Master plan review. So I think that for master plan review, basically we're looking for the exception of being able to carve out a single 2-acre lot to avoid triggering a master plan review. But I think there's a few items in that the staff requires. I don't think we're questioning that there is 2 acres, but a few items that are required in your documentation to be able to sign off on that. So prior to closing the hearing, staff recommends the board require the applicant to provide a reference wetland report. So that was the issue. That was one issue I remember. You indicated that in your application narrative that you provide a wetland classification report from August of 2021, but no such report was included in the package.
We can be sure to make sure staff gets that.
Okay.
Yep.
And as part of that review, then it'll provide the reference wetland report, demonstrate the wetland buffers have been shown correctly. A class 2 wetland has 100-foot, not a 50-foot buffer in the LS1 and NRP districts, and provide a map supporting the computation of the buildable area of proposed lot 1, demonstrating that it's greater than 2 acres. Buildable area is defined in 15A082.
I believe that plan shows those.
Okay.
Yep. Is the delineation from 2021?
It is. Yep.
Is that still valid 5 years after delineation?
Yeah, it's towards the end of 2021. Yep.
What is it good for 5 years? So yeah, so it's August, so you still have some time. Okay. Board's comfortable? Okay. All right. Given the light, we're only gonna review staff comments, we're gonna just think, but ones that aren't read, we're in agreement on, and staff's reviewed it. So
Yep. Yeah, feel free to, anything you feel like we discussed, feel free to keep going.
Yep. So in the buildable area calculation, there's some hazards that need to be shown on your maps.
The plat, I think specifically.
Plat, yes,
Yep.
on the plat.
We can do that.
Yep, river corridor, unidentified wetland buffer discussed above, so just make sure that you update your plans.
Yep.
Okay. That's also included level 1 resources. So. Yep, so modify the plat. Then the requirements of subdivision for the future public road, item number 10. Are discussed under 15A8 and 15A10 below, and require the applicant to provide the right of way. Staff recommends the board require the applicant to show the right of way, not just the street on all plans, and specifically the subdivision plat. So is this for Marla, is this the right of way for lot number 2, or is this both right of ways?
This is for lot 1.
Lot 1, that's right, okay. So this is for the, you're talking about the one between South Point or Upswept and North Jefferson?
Yes.
Okay, so this is where we get into, you need to show the right of way, not just future.
Yeah, and I guess, and if you want to add anything, please do, but I think this is where we're asking the board to allow us not to, dedicate this right away at this time.
Any reason why not to dedicate it?
The rationale is it has no implications of the project that's being proposed. Whether that gets dedicated now or later, in our opinion, it would be vital to any future development that happened on the rear of lot 1 and 4. It's inevitable that will be constructed. Likely, if we dedicate it to you now, it will just sit idle.
No, that's the point about it is to sit idle because it is a planned future city road, city street. There, you're doing this is whenever we get a shot
at
taking care of dotting I's and crossing our T's on things we know are going to happen. We like to definitely do that. So we can talk about it as a board to see if we're going to require it or.
But it's a pertinent fact with lot 1, correct?
It is something that the city has planned for. I don't deny that it's on the comprehensive map. I understand all that. I just don't feel it has really any implications on the project that's in front of you. And I think there'll be ample opportunity to seize that right of way in the future.
We've had discussions with the city multiple times about this whole property of 1720, 1730. And one of the things we did offer the city, and it was refused, was that right of way from those two adjoining properties. So where we are today, I don't believe we're in a position to grant that right away.
Why aren't you in a position to grant it?
Because this whole project started as a conservation project.
Mm-hmm.
We came forward and we started this whole project of 1720, 1730 with the help of the South Burlington Land Trust. When we first started, our whole goal was to conserve as much of this property as possible, meeting a lot of city goals other than just housing. And with the multiple meetings we had with the city, we then looked at it and how many of these goals can we meet? And fortunately, we built an alliance with the South Burlington Land Trust. We built an alliance with Habitat for the housing part. And once we knew we had a conservation piece and a housing piece, we went to the Vermont Housing Conservation Board for the South Burlington Land Trust. And they were granted that award. And with that scenario, we were looking at doing very much of what we're talking about today, giving 2.5 acres to Habitat in the front, taking the 2 acres in the house and selling that, and then putting a conservation easement on the remaining 36 acres. And in that process, it would have been a right of way given to the city between Upswept and Jefferson, and also to a water line. Okay, things simply that did not go through. Again, we got the funds from Vermont Housing Conservation Board that, where it came to a dead end is the city of South Burlington had to commit some open space funds for this project to go through, roughly 37% of the total project.
Mhm.
And we lost on 2-2 vote.
You
So
lost in what?
that the city council voted 2-2.
Yeah.
So it had to be majority.
Yep.
So that right away will be open for discussion. But we're hoping it's going to be open for discussion outside of this arena.
This arena being this specific application or this whole project development? Because we have 3 items before us that are all contingent on this larger parcel broken up into 4 lots. You know, and the right of way is an integral part of it. We have, at the end of the day, we're looking to set up the property for future. Maybe have no plans in the immediate, but for future to prevent. We'd like to put right of ways when we know that there's going to be something done. We know the road's going in at some point because it's on the city maps. It's, you know, it's a right of way. So it's whether it's done now or it's done in the future. The problem with doing it in the future is that's when that development is going to be proposed. And we'd like to, you know, like we said, dot our i's, cross our t's when we get a chance to, knowing it's going to be down the road. So it's kind of like kicking the can down the road when we know it's going to be coming to fruition. So other than, is there a financial reason you can't put in the right of way now? Or is it just, you don't think it's needed because it's so far away from, you know, lot number 2 development?
It's a combination of both. It's a distance. And when we look at this plan and where we're looking at recovering our costs, we're not looking to make money on this project. But part of it is to recovering the cost, and part of that cost recovery is the sale of that right of way to the city.
Marla, is this a DRB latitude or is this a city regulation requirement? I just want to know some we as board.
Yeah, so this particular comment
Yeah.
is to show the existing and planned streets and railroad rights of way on the plat. So all this specific comment is showing. And I think that, you know, you've shown it on the buildable area map. We're asking that it be shown on the plat, regardless of whether it's ultimately decided that you need to, that needs to say dedicated city right of way or planned city right of way. Later, we talk about the city's requirement to provide those features. So it comes up again, and when it comes up again, I think you'll see the standard that says provide it. But that's not what we're talking about. Not what this specific standard is saying yet.
I guess we'll put a pen in it for down the road tonight again. No, we'll put a pen in it to keep talking. We're going to get through these layers.
Yep.
Okay. Board, have any other comments or just wait till we get further down? Okay.
Well, I guess my quick question here is if this is just asking it to be on all plans, can we get an agreement to just have it be on the plans?
Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
we have a problem.
Then we can close this one out. Is that nice?
Yes.
Okay. And then we'll discuss whether that's about to go further later on. Okay. So shown as a 64-foot right of way.
Yep.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. Moving on, we're on the comment number 11. This is in relation to development connectivity. Applicant must demonstrate the subdivision is configured and laid out to maximize connections with adjoining parcels and neighborhoods. This is indicate the proposed road citywide map on the provided existing conditions plan sheet 2 is not sufficient to establish connectivity between lot 1, South Point Road, and South Village.
Right, so this is one of the instances, and there's another one as well. So this says the applicant must demonstrate the subdivision is configured and laid out to maximize connections. This is not the strongest language in the LDR. The strongest language is yet to come, but this is another sort of place where it indicates that this needs to be done now.
Right. Now, just to remind me with my decades removed and all that, is showing it on the plat and providing an irrevocable offer of deed, is there 2 different things or is it one and the same?
Yeah, so they could show it on the map as a planned future right of way, and that doesn't have any legal standing.
Does that mean legal standing? Okay.
providing irrevocable offer of deed and warranty deed would be the legal
Right.
standing.
Right, it'd be mostly illustrative. We wouldn't set corners or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. All right. Again, put a pin in it. Get that around. Okay, so the staff requires the board to require the applicant to revise the revised plat and draft legal. Okay, so this is something we will have to discuss further. Unless the board has enough. No, I think we need further discussion. Okay. Director of Public Works reviewed the plans on February 18th and offered the following comment. This goes to they need the irrevocable offer of deed, correct? Blue comment, sorry. Yep. Bottom of page 11.
So this is another
Makes sense.
indication, the Director of Public Works supports that they provide a right of way. And deed and warranty deed, irrevocable offer. Ooh,
Yeah, so that's a mouthful. Okay. Okay, and also possible future connections to be included in the IOD would include water line, shared use path, and a road. Okay. All right, but we still haven't hit a point where the regulations require, correct? Okay. Okay,
Actually, I'm not even sure he's the next one. I think there's still one stronger, but
one strong. Okay. Top of page 13, item number 12. What'd you say? Okay. All right. Staff recommends the board require the applicant to provide a plan showing the proposed subdivision, the entirety of lot 1 and the development restrictions thereupon, including the required street right of way, and to provide the wetland delineation report referenced in their cover letter in order to evaluate compliance with the criteria. Should such plan fail to make clear that the physical and regulatory restrictions on the property result in the proposed subdivision having no effect on the development potential of lot 1, the applicant must provide an illustrative plan. That's a mouthful.
so for this one, this is the map they provided, and since they provided it, I would recommend the board actually consider this criteria now because you have the opportunity to do so. So this criteria is that if the proposed, can you show the plan that they submitted as a supplemental, please? So this is for all areas, for all properties with over 2 acres of buildable area. The design of subdivision cannot prevent or impede future development of the property to the minimum residential density. To satisfy this requirement, the applicant must either demonstrate the planned development area meets the minimum density by providing an illustrative plan, or by demonstrating that the proposed subdivision doesn't have any impact on the development potential of the subdivided land. So is this plan sufficient to demonstrate that subdivision of lot 2 from lot 1 doesn't impede the development potential of lot 1 now that you have it?
And this is just our opinion, correct?
Right, so you have the option to say, yes, it doesn't impede it. You can not provide an illustrative plan, or no, it looks like this subdivision might prevent you from building minimum density on lot 1. You should provide a plan showing how it can be met on the remaining lands of lot 1.
Does the board have any comment on it? I personally don't think that your development on lot number 2 does anything to prevent development on lot number 1, because just the configuration of your lot, the wetlands and the right of way you're gonna have to provide.
Yep.
The north-south right of way, that's kind of the balance of what's left over.
I agree.
And it's gonna end up being over 2 acres.
Yep, it's kind of an irregular shaped lot, especially.
Right, it is an irregular shaped lot. You can't do anything
It's
about it.
almost 2 now, yeah.
Which we're kicking the can down the road for the future discussion with lots 3 and 4, but I think at this point, my opinion is that. Anyone else on the board have a differing opinion?
No, I agree.
Okay, Marley, is that sort of where?
I could kind of
Discussion
see an
is
argument
good.
that it somewhat impedes the development potential of lot 1, because it creates that, as we pointed out at the beginning, the area that's not shaded green but is on lot one, that's sort of now disconnected from the remainder of lot one.
Right. I don't think that's big enough to do anything in, even if,
If you look at the footprint of similar home, like single family homes on adjacent lots, yeah, I see your point.
What's the offset for this district? I guess these would be rear and side lots, right?
I don't know. Off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think it's 5 and 20.
20 in the front,
Yeah,
15 in the back, 5 in the side.
5, the sides I know got
Yeah.
really small.
I believe it's 15 in the back.
That makes sense.
I just want to talk it through. That's
Yeah.
fine. Okay.
where the dimension of the hand is right now.
So they've got setback lines shown on lot two that you can kind of use for scale.
Right. Right, but if you look at the lot, the houses on South Point, try to drop one of those in there. You're not fitting anything on that little sliver of land that's left over.
Yeah, no setbacks. So
That's what I was trying.
Right. Right. Yep. Okay. I think that I'm comfortable with what we've shown that.
yeah, and any density that would be taken from that little sliver would be applied
Right.
somewhere else where it
Yeah.
makes more sense.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. I think this might be getting us closer to the requirement rather than the must rather than may. So this is street network 15 and 10. There's some staff comments at the bottom of 15 that relates to comment 13 that'll be discussed. So staff recommends the board require the applicant to provide an irrevocable offer of dedication and warranty deed. That's one of the recommendations on the official map on lot one. Street grid must establish an extended or interconnected street grid. For lot one, the future public roads create interconnection between South Point and South Village neighborhoods. For lot two, the applicant is providing a 20-foot wide private driveway to serve 12 homes. That would be better if this access was located across from upsweat. Staff recommends location is acceptable relative to the wetlands. And then for lot one, staff recommends the board include a condition requiring this future connection at such time as lot one is developed for the irrevocable deed right of way. That's another item we will be discussing. So then comment number 13 for lot two, staff considers the applicant proposal to construct a 20-foot wide driveway to fail to meet this criterion. The existing South Point Drive and Oxford lanes are not assigned functional classes, therefore they would be considered other connecting right of ways. To comply with this criterion, staff recommends the board require the applicant to modify the proposed plan to provide a roadway similar in design to South Point Drive and Upsweat Lane. So that I believe is the discussion over the driveway that accesses the 12 units on lot two. So this sounds like this is a must or a shall, not should, correct? It's required by the regulations.
So these standards are, if you can scroll up just a bit, the street grid must establish or extend interconnected street grid. And maximize connectivity and provide for future extension of streets of equivalent functional class, which is not a relevant concept for local roads and other connecting rights of way or easements through adjoining properties. So we didn't harp on lot one again here because it seems like you were doing that a lot. This talks about specifically lot two is a driveway, proposed to be a driveway, not a street.
Yes, but it looks like the reg specifically talks about right of way easements. So we're providing the right of way for that future connection. We're just building it to a scale that meets what's being proposed. But we're not shutting the door on the connectivity piece that I think this regulation is getting at. We're certainly leaving the door open for that public road to be constructed at some point in the future when it's warranted and the city wants to accept it. But
Well, the other issue is that when we build a road, driveway, road.
Yeah.
That allows for future development, it has to go to the property line, not stop short. Because one thing that we've always discovered, as we have all found, is that when you build it partially and then you come in later,
understood. Yep.
people are sort of like, wait, what's going on? You know,
Yep.
we start-
And I know that's the city's policy regarding public road
Correct.
construction, but again, we're not. I don't think it's warranted for what we're proposing. Just because there's right of way, I don't think by default that means the public road needs to be built within. The right of way is being provided and a revocable offer is being submitted to the city if and when it makes sense for that to become a public road. That's all there and can be enacted on, and the roadway can be upgraded as necessary, you know, based on public works director's specifications at the time. But to serve 12 units for a habitat project, it puts a significant cost on those 12 units.
I would ask that you consider as to what's required versus what seems to be a good idea to add an additional $50,000 to $75,000
Mhm.
to a project.
And I think that's what we're trying to get at, whether we say we keep kicking the can down the road, whether we get further in, if there's going to get to the point where the regulations say you must do this, we don't have the flexibility as a board. If we always do have the flexibility and the latitude,
Right.
we take that into consideration. But
Right.
there's times when, as a board, we are beholden to the land development regulations. And if we get to the point where the regulations say, for this project, you must do this, we don't have that latitude. And I'm trying to get to the point where we're at that point where it says we as a board have the flexibility and the latitude to grant that, relief, or whether, and oftentimes we don't grant it due to past precedents and issues that we know could potentially come. Sometimes we grant it based on individual criteria. We try not to set precedent, but we try to learn from past errors when we have latitude and flexibility. So I want to get to the point where maybe Seth can say, are we going to get to the point where it says, due to what they're proposing, we have to do this and it's a must?
Yeah, I think you're calling out a shortcoming that I'm now seeing in the way we wrote this staff report. I don't recall off the top of my head if the roadway for lot 2 gets to a must. I think that what I want to do for the continued hearing is, the board is going to take all the feedback, consider all the different points that are made. And then for the next memo, I would propose to sort of consolidate all the comments that pertain to the roadway on lot 2 and consolidate all the comments that pertain to the roadway on lot 1. And then you can and then maybe summarize the points that are made.
Yep.
And you can look at them sort of in totality.
Right. Because one thing we do know is that we often say it because we don't control what's happening on the adjacent lots and we only get one bite at the apple. I think here's an example where we actually do have the review authority because they're all together being proposed. So we can look at what that might look like moving forward.
Yep.
And what relief we might be able to offer.
Yeah. I just want to ask a clarifying question. So for this application, which is just the subdivision, right? Providing a right of way or easement would meet the standard, but when we go into the site plan review for actual development of the plan, that's where we have to talk about actual interconnectivity between the lots, which would be, we want that road to the edge of the lot line. Because we've had that issue in the past where the current developer is not going to develop the road all the way to the lot line, and the next developer doesn't want to develop the road, but have to incur that cost. And then we get into that lot becomes undevelopable because that developer doesn't want to take on that cost. So perhaps for the subdivision, it's fine, but for the site plan,
Right.
it might not be.
That's what I'm saying, kicking the can
Yeah.
down the road.
Are we going to approve a subdivision that we know we may not approve the requirement in the site plan? So I guess that's the question in front of us, right?
Yeah, I feel like I'm falling down a little bit here because I don't have this in the forefront of my mind like I do the other issues. But I will say that with the latest rewrite of the regulations, road stuff is in subdivision.
Yeah.
And not in site plan because roads are to be on their own lots and therefore necessarily defined by a subdivision, and roads in site plan say, see the subdivision standards.
Yeah.
So everything that is in the site plan is also in the subdivision. I'm sorry, I can't offer you
Yeah.
more right now.
Yeah,
It's something
right,
that
away
we
would
have
be
to
created to some
pull together.
I agree with that.
But it would define what's going to go within the right of way. In the
Yeah. Yeah.
the
No.
subdivision.
Yep.
So I think that this is something that we can kick it far enough down, but at some point we're gonna have to.
Yeah, we're here to get your feedback on
Yep.
that item because obviously it's gonna change any
Right.
revisions we make, so we would like to, if possible, leave tonight with the board's or as good of a direction as we can get.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, okay. All right, so let's just take 14 and 15 together. So Zach recommends that the applicant construct the street to the adjoining property line discussed in 15A10. A4 below. And construct the city to street standards, including cross-section requirements and the DPW specification and service geometry for local neighborhood street type as defined in LDR table 11A. Constructing the street to anything less than city standards results in the need for it to be reconstructed prior to city acceptance.
Which
I think this is the must. This is the as close as you get to a must. So if you want to scroll up a bit to show the block and make it zoom out so you can see a little bit more of the page. So the DRB shows under 2 public streets, and then if you could zoom out so you could see this stuff and comment 14 at the same time. Oh dear.
So number 2, public streets.
Mhm.
DRB shall require streets be offered for dedication to the city as a public street in accordance with the following. The proposed street will or could provide a future extension to an adjoining unaffiliated property or to another existing proposed or planned public street. So it sounds like that's an example of where this is directly related as opposed to the right of way between Upswett and North Jefferson, directly related and within the purview of this development. So I think that's where we're getting to the must.
Yeah,
rather than should or could.
we don't have any issue with the right of way. Obviously, it's just constructing a street that would be dedicated to the city. Right? This project doesn't warrant that. So the only reason you're requiring or considering requiring us to build it to a public standard is to potentially develop an adjacent parcel, which we're not precluding that from happening. We think including our private drive within that right of way makes the most sense. So when that does get built, we can access off that private road. But otherwise, we could, shift our driveway access 30 feet to the west of that access, and you'd have 2 curb cuts right next to each other, which, in my view, doesn't make any sense. So we're asking for the board to consider what's in front of you, and
So,
we believe a private drive is adequate for what's being proposed. So.
yeah, no, I have a theoretical question, right? So the lot that could be accessed is to the south from this road.
Yeah.
Lot 4, 2, or sorry, it's lot 4 and 3, sorry. But
Yeah.
right now, the lot to the south, because it's not subdivided.
Yep.
Essentially, what I'm hearing is an ask that when that lot comes up for subdivision, that developer would need to extend the road to city standards.
If they're proposing a project that warrants it, yes.
Right.
So in that case, just to follow your thread, in order for the board to do that, the city would be required to accept that street prior to that subdivision.
Correct. Who's paying for that?
I understand.
Right.
No, I get it. Yes.
That's a future problem tonight.
Right.
But aren't there all types of precedent where somebody wants to develop a property and the water line needs to be upgraded in order to be sufficient for whatever development that is, or a sewer line needs to be upgraded because it's not sufficient. So it seems as though this isn't something new. What we're proposing, meeting the requirements, not what might happen down the road. I recognize what you said about taking things into consideration. But there's an awful lot that you don't know that might happen on that other property down the road. That it seems as though you're putting an undue burden on a property and an application for what they're asking for, not what somebody else might ask for.
I hear what you're saying, but I think that the regulations are getting into the developer must provide a street for dedication to the city. You know, which is what you're building, but you're only building part of it. You're only offering to build as private driveway, but you're building on a right of way that's doing an interconnectivity between.
Yeah, the way I read the regulations, if a public road is being constructed, it needs to be constructed to public standards. We're not constructing or pretending to construct a public road. I guess that's where I see it differently.
Right. I hear what you're saying.
Sorry, your name is Tom, correctly?
Correct.
You realize what we were talking about may affect your sketch plan application that's later tonight, right?
Correct.
Okay, then we'll move on.
Okay. 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 So let's move on to.
And then 15 about working with the city attorney to finalize the IOD that you've already provided is fine.
Right, and I think you want a draft warranty deed too.
Number 15,
We just provided.
you have to go before city council to accept that.
Yep, that's usually an approval condition though, right? City attorney review legals.
Yeah, and it doesn't go to city council until the city's ready to accept it. It's more like getting it in the form that the city council
Yep.
would accept it
Yeah, that's
before they record the Mylar.
Okay, item 16, bottom of page 17 seems to be the exact same issue we've been kicking the dead horse on. I think that's something the board will discuss further, and the board's obviously gonna have to make a determination one way or another based on what we can and can't do.
Would you want to have a deliberation before the continued meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Middle of page 19, Deputy Director of Capital Projects reviewed the plans and had a comment. I recommend a sidewalk be built on the west side of the access drive and turn west to connect onto the sidewalks in front of building number 3. Where is that the private driveway road discussion we're having?
Yeah, and can you pull up the plan in the packet?
I think she's saying if we're gonna build a public road, she wants a sidewalk on that side.
Correct. Which goes to what if we end up not having to build a public road? in this
Right,
road
exactly.
driveway?
Yep.
Yep. Plan. All the way down. Are you with that report? The plan. Oh, I know what the plan is. Go back to where you work. But yeah. Maybe that one. There we go. So Erica's comment is that should the board decide a roadway, the road needs to meet road standards. She recommends that the required sidewalk be on the west.
And then it says turn in into sidewalks and connect to the sidewalks in front of building number 3.
Which is
can't
the
read
one on the north.
The one in the north. Okay. Yep. Okay. So that's another, if we end up having to build a public road as opposed to a private driveway, we'll be requiring that.
Understood.
Okay. Okay, page 20. Item number 18. Staff recommends a local neighborhood street. Sounds like this is continuing to be all about the roads.
Yeah, this one talks about what the dimensions are and that sort of thing.
Right.
For that type of street.
So let's see. It seems like 18, 19, 20, 21. All are in relation to this discussion that we've had. So I think we can probably just table those for deliberative discussion before the next hearing. Is there anything in them that you think otherwise?
So 22, I'm just reading it again, speaks to lot 1. This one's a little subtle. This is about the road, the planned.
You're
road
talking about
on-
22.
Yeah,
Yes.
22. The planned road on lot 1. And the recommendation that supporting the recommendation that that be dedicated now, specifically because there is no requirement to provide pedestrian infrastructure on Spear Street. And that, I know that sounds really convoluted, but the city has made the decision to put all of their eggs in the basket of
Get off.
bike and ped connectivity north-south off the Spear Street alignment and through South Village, through South Point, through Pinnacle at Spear,
But the
through
city
Spear
could
Meadow,
build-
all the way up to Swift Street.
If the city had a rec path, they could build a rec, if they had a right of way, they could build a rec path before the road.
Yes.
So is this one of the city streets, I imagine, that has the planned right of way width? Is that what we're? is that what
No.
you're getting at?
No, this is about, sorry, like I said, this is hard to explain succinctly. So if a subdivision is proposed along an existing street and the street doesn't have the required streetscape components, be it a rec path, street trees, lighting, if that's the sort of thing required, that subdivision has to provide those improvements. There are no improvements required for Spear Street because Spear Street isn't planned to be anything other than a vehicle road. The planned improvements are for the planned public street on the official map to the east.
Okay, so this is just reaffirming the right of way we're proposing in the back.
Okay. All right, moving on to item number 23, staff recommends the board require the applicants receive planning commission approval for the proposed street on lot 1 prior to closing the hearing. Guess we're just gonna kick that one down the road as well. Yep. Okay. Item number 4, sidewalks, bike lanes, and rec paths. I'm suspecting we're going on the same route, but applicant has not provided direct pedestrian access from the street to the proposed building lot. Staff recommends the board require the applicant to provide a sidewalk to the proposed lot 2 from their proposed streets. Design a pedestrian connection within lot 2 is discussed in the concurrent site plan application. So this one, I mean, this one doesn't seem like, even if it's a public road or a private driveway, you're connecting to 12 units with sidewalk and public and parking lot. I would think we want to require a bike at sidewalk in from, what would it be? South Point Drive into the lot.
Yeah, up to you, Mark, but maybe when we put the site plan up there and see the
Yeah.
walks and how it's laid out, maybe that's the
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Up to you, though.
I'll put a note to
All right.
remind us to go back.
Okay. Yes.
Next one.
Is there any other major items on this one before we sort of do that, or is it sort of barrel break? Yeah, I'm just wondering if that, the rest of the room comments appear to be more in like infrastructure,
Yeah.
sewer,
At 27 talks about sewer.
right,
We're showing you sewer
renewable
easement.
energy facilities. It sounds like these are things that we can hash out. Okay, so I had a suggestion from Charlie that we stop this one at this point, take public comment, take for a certain amount of time period, and then continue it and open up the next item, which is the site plan application.
You want to speak to it, that's fine. Continue that. Because we just keep on schedule, right? Because we already ran over.
Just make sure you use your mic, because
I'm sorry.
We've ran over a lot of time, I
Right.
guess, right? And we'll just continue to be able to.
Maybe I could just summarize so I went to staff report, obviously. The only item I had feedback on or noted for feedback is number 27 in regard to extending sewer to lot 1. We're showing easement to the irrevocable offer or deliberative, if you folks don't mind discussing whether that's adequate or not. That was the only one. A lot of the other ones are road ones and other things that I think we could just address that don't necessarily we can work out with staff.
So number 27, no planned sewer service has been indicated for lot number 1. Staff recommends the board require the applicant to modify the plans to include planned sewer service for lot 1 in the right of way connecting Upset Lane to North Jefferson Street. Is that? If we don't end up actually accepting a right of way and just sort of do it as a planned and no planned sewer service, wouldn't we just leave that for the future down the road, or is that something we typically require?
It's not going to be a right of way between South Point and North Jefferson, and they would need to show sewer to the right of way that they're proposing on lot 2, to the buildable area, right? So it might be showing a sewer line that's running through the trees.
Yeah, well, on the front of the lot, we're showing a sewer easement to the lot 2 right of way. And then in the rear, we have a sewer possible connection on both of the existing town roads, which we would have rights to connect to those sewer lines too. So we can certainly show something pictorially, coming off of what would likely be South Village as it's lower.
Right.
But we just want to make sure that that's what this comment is referring to, not actually asking us to extend the sewer at this point.
I think it's not to extend the sewer, but to show that the sewer belongs in the right of way.
Okay. Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay. Okay. So Charlie, what are you recommending? Yeah. Okay. So knowing that we also can take public comment for the same thing on the next one. Okay. All right. So the plan is we're going to stop the review at this point, knowing we're going to be continuing it. We will have a deliberative session to discuss the issue of the public street, public driveway, private driveway issue. And we're going to take some time to take public comment on this application. Then we're going to continue it to a date in the future and start on the site plan application for the Habitat for Humanity's 12-unit development. So if there's anyone in the audience that wants to speak directly to this application, we will also be hearing the actual 12-unit one next. But if you do, please raise your hand. Everyone's going to table it for the next one. Okay. Then I guess we'll, yeah.
Oh, let me check online.
Oh yeah, you went online. Is there anyone online besides us?
Am I not even on the Zoom meeting anymore? No, I am.
Yeah, Dawn
I've
is
lost it. Oh, there it is.
She's
Just to straw poll the audience, is there anyone here for these applications, I guess? Okay, just checking.
Okay. Just interested observers. That's good. We like that. Okay. All right. Then continue it to the next hearing, March 17th, or do we need some more time because of deliberative discussion?
Well, what do you guys want to do? You can have more time. You could have, neither of us have to do any more work. If you want to just continue to the next date and they can deliberate and you can get some feedback.
Yeah, I was hoping to make a slew of plan changes prior to our next meeting, but I need feedback on stuff before I can take a good swing at it.
Right.
Do you want to continue into a short meeting on the
I would say
17th?
as soon as you can get us on.
Yeah, we can do the next meeting.
Yeah.
You and I don't have to do any additional work other than I'll compile everything into one little package. They can deliberate and provide you some feedback and go through the ones that they didn't get to tonight.
I'd hate to make assumptions and then be wrong.
Okay, so then we're going to can I get a motion to continue final plat application ST 2601 to the, was it March 17th? March 17th hearing?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion passes. So we'll continue the review. We'll have a deliberative session to be able to give you some hopefully clear guidance before the next meeting, but we'll continue the discussions at the next meeting.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Mark, I'm so sorry.
Yep.
I had received a written public comment
Okay,
for this one that you just closed.
so we just closed. Continue.
Continued, you just continued. Can you reopen it for me?
Sure. Make a motion to reopen ST 2601 to read and input the public comments to the record.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right.
All right,
Reopen.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a anonymous letter that says concerned South Point residents. It says in regards to new development off Spear Street next to South Point neighborhood, there has been concern as to why the new Habitat for Humanity neighborhood would construct their entrance off South Point. If their address, why don't I share my screen? Hang on.
Sure.
So much smarter.
That's a good question.
Yes,
We're allowed to take anonymous comments.
you can, anyone can make a public
Is there
comment,
any- we
but
ask
just
people
don't
to
become an
give their name
interested,
and
they don't get to become an interested person if it's anonymous.
Okay.
So this is the comment. I don't think I need to read.
We
it.
hold
It's
these
pretty big.
meetings in public, not specifically for the public. So we take as much comment and feedback, and then we decide as a board how we decipher that in our deliberations and discussions. So. Okay. All right, why don't I read it? Regarding the Long property, in regards to the new development of Spear Street next to South Point neighborhood, there's been concern as to why the new Habitat for Humanity neighborhood would construct their entrance off South Point. If their address is Spear Street, then the entry of the development should be off Spear, not South Point. South Point owns a strip of land along the existing privacy cedars. We're in favor of saving these cedars, but opposed to having a new road constructed for access to their development from South Point. This plan will impact the amount of traffic, lighting, irrigation, and privacy on our neighborhood. Please take this into consideration, as this will have a huge impact on a 25-year-old, well-established, beautiful, quiet neighborhood. Concerned South Point residents. Okay. All right, we'll enter that into public record.
And just if the other people who provided written comment are here, I did read it. It seemed more applicable to the site plan, so I saved it for the site plan.
Any comment or board? Right, entered into the record. So I'll take a motion to close, continue to the meeting we discussed previously.
So moved.
Second. Motion been seconded. All those in favor? Right, opposed, abstained? Okay. All right, so moving on, item number 2. Or either written as number 2, it's actually item number 6, site plan application SP 2607, agreement Habitat for Humanity to develop a newly subdivided 2-acre lot with 3 4-family homes and associated road and infrastructure, 1720 Spear Street. It says the new application for anyone that will be providing comments or testimony, and you swear you in. So you can raise your right hand. Anyone, you don't have to be sworn in to make a comment. Just swear the testimony before the board on this matter is truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, but under penalty of perjury.
I do.
Okay. So why don't you give us a little summary of what you're planning on doing if we move forward with everything else?
So the application in front of you is 12 units, 3 fourplexes, 2 facing Spear Street and 1 facing South Point. It's served by a private drive and 23 space parking lot behind the units, municipal water connections, sewer connections, and an on-site stormwater treatment system is also included.
Okay.
Can I just also,
Yes.
just for the record, to mention that these are all home ownership. By covenant, they're not permitted to be rental units.
Okay.
These will be homeowners in the neighborhood.
Okay. Now, will they be, so there'll be an HOA and there'll be condominiumized?
Will they be condominium? I assume by legal
Right.
statute, they'll need to be
Yeah.
condominium.
Okay. Okay. All right, then why don't we, so we'll just start doing good staff comments.
Yeah.
We'll endeavor to get through as many as we can, but again, this is another long
Yep.
item. We do have another item on the agenda before us. So why don't we set the time? I think we had in the agenda 8:30. I think we'll go, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair amount of repeaters too.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you feel, Mark, you want to keep.
So we're gonna go till 8:30 on discussing these, then we'll stop and take 10 minutes for public comment. Can I assume there's people here for public comments on this item? Or is everyone here just as observer? I just want to know whether we should budget time or give them a little more time.
Well, if there's no public comment, you can keep going.
Okay, all right. Okay. I see in here that we have the same issue with public notice.
Yep.
Same thing. It's going to be continued, so we're going to be past the 15-day.
Understood.
So it should be cured.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, so the first item, it seems to be a pretty big one. That front yard setback on Spear Street.
Yep. We
Talk to
understand.
that.
Yep, we understand the normal, let's say, front yard setback and on South Point, it's only 20 feet. But Spear Street south of 89 is 50. So our building is shown roughly 25 feet back.
Right.
We need to double it, and we understand that.
So you're going to revise the plans to reflect that?
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. And then you're going to do it. Do you have any thoughts on how that's going to impact? Because it's a pretty tight site already.
Yeah, so the idea is we're going to rotate the parking lot.
I think we do.
Yep.
Okay.
And some of the fire department comments and, how far it is from the southern unit, I think will end up being a better layout. So.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So that was item number 2. Item number 3 just looks like you need to provide some calculations for existing grade and proposed FFE.
Yeah, we did, we have finished floors and pre-construction grades. I think we need to translate those to our elevations. We took the worst case scenario.
Yep.
And showed that was less, but we can.
Yeah, so it didn't look like there's going to be an issue. I think
No,
you just need it for calculation.
and they'll change a little bit as we move the buildings. Too.
Okay.
Yep.
EV parking spaces are not indicated on the plan. Staff recommends the board require applicant to modify the plans to comply with EV charging requirements.
Yep.
Requires us 4% of the parking spaces.
Yep. And then it equates to 1, and
Yep.
it'll be EV ready.
Okay.
I understand.
So we're getting site plan review standards.
Wait, is that right? The percent is right. So. Oh, it's not EV capable. Okay, yep. There's a lot of confusion right now with the rollback to the 2020 regulation. Yeah.
So it's going to be ready to conduit to it, but you're not running it and putting the charger.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
And then people, I think, is running the electric lines. And then. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. EV ready.
Okay.
Down.
Okay. Site plan review standards. So some discussion that now that you're going to be shifting it back to 50 feet, you might be able to make some adjustments on your grading. But staff considers the building should have their fronts face Spear Street and South Point Drive. But also recognize it would be more convenient for residents to access them by what is labeled in the site drawing as the rear of the building. Also shown in architectural plans is a walkout basement that is not viable given the site topography. I think you're not showing a walkout basement, you're showing an egress
Yeah, I think
Well,
we're showing window wells. Yeah.
to be able to have an occupiable basement.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So staff recommends the board require the applicant to modify the plan to provide sidewalks to the front doors and doors to the rear of the units to use the sidewalks that are already shown. Is this discussion based on having the street elevation? Can we put up the elevations from the plans?
Yeah, we're showing sidewalks to the rears, and our intention is that the rear doors will exist. I don't believe they made them into the version of the elevations that were submitted to the city. So we need to revise our floor plan to make sure that we're showing the rear entry there.
Okay, so you are going to have the door off the rear of the unit that fronts in Spear Street.
Well, my understanding is that the buildings have to front Spear Street. Correct, Marla?
Yeah, so because the face of the building is truly the front of the building on Spear Street, and the back of the buildings are the rear. If the road was public road though, and not a private road, wouldn't it be fronting on the,
Yeah, but the parking lot would be in the way.
well, that's, yeah.
I feel like I've overtrained you. The standard that buildings front on a street is applicable to single family homes on their own lot.
Oh,
So this is not a must.
okay.
This is a recommendation to maintain or establish a consistent orientation to the street. So staff's recommendation to be consistent with Spear Street, South Point. South Village is for the homes to face the street and not to face the parking lot. So that being said, in this configuration, the site plan has labeled the fronts as facing Spear Street and South Point. There's no sidewalks to the front doors. There's sidewalks to the backs of the building where there's no doors. And I think Brian was saying they're going to revise the plans to put back doors on the units, and that sounds great. Part of this comment is, okay, but then your front door just
Yeah.
go on.
Why
go
can't
on
we
the front.
just front on the other side of the building? And it's guidance, right? Let's front onto the other side of the building to the parking lot and remove the rear doors.
Yeah, we're happy.
Unless you need them for fire escape or something
I
like
mean, the
that.
standard is to maintain or establish a consistent orientation to the street, and where a prevalent pattern exists, continue in the manner in which the site's foundations relate to topography and grade. So the consistent orientation is for the homes to face the street.
Spear.
Except there will be a street eventually, right?
But not,
It could be facing.
it could be, but
I guess there
it's-
isn't
right.
a street,
Right.
and that's a driveway.
And it's facing the street on the other, from the other side of a parking lot, still facing the street.
Well, one of the problem with actually facing the buildings onto Spear Street so that they're fronting,
Mhm.
is there's no sidewalk on Spear Street. So you're putting front door where you have no access to it from the public right of way.
Right, so the specific comment is to modify the plans to provide sidewalks to the front doors.
From the parking lot,
Yes,
not from Spear.
Yeah, so the front door goes to a sidewalk.
Yeah, so there's a sidewalk all the way around the building, right? Because they wouldn't have a sidewalk from the parking lot to the building, and then there would be another sidewalk on the other side of the building for their front doors.
Is this a must or should or shall?
this is a should.
Sorry, I should.
This is a should, not a shall. Okay, because I don't like that. I feel it's really a lot of waste of asphalt and no one's gonna use it.
Yeah.
One thing I do think is that the rear of the building, let's just call it the rear of the building, because it's
Yeah.
the rear building facing Spear Street.
Okay.
It's, I think you need to upgrade a little bit. There's some comments in the staff comments about the architecture of it. You know, it has a very, I think it's a little too uniform. You could play with the materials. It's not a cost thing. We're not asking you to spend more money for materials, window fenestration, sizes, configuration.
Okay.
You know, you can upgrade the building architecture so that it doesn't have as uniform a look. It's a
Okay.
very uniform, very, you
Yep.
know, so.
Okay.
I think that on both, on the three sides of the front, it'd be nice to get some detail up in the gables, you know, so it has a little more, you know, a little more detail, a little more scale to it, and it's sort of, I know it's a 4-unit building, but it sort of has the scale of a large single family, which you're using single family, you know, vernacular in it.
Okay.
So let's upgrade it a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
But yeah, I don't think we need to,
Yeah, so we're calling the front towards the parking lot.
Right.
I said about
Right.
adding rear door.
yes, the front elevation 2 front entry faces the parking lot.
Yep.
Elevation, and I don't know what number it is, the
Yeah.
rear with the window wells faces Spear Street, it's a rear.
Okay.
I think, you know, play around with the architecture on all 4 sides.
Yep. Okay.
Just upgrade it, just change, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Okay,
Perfect. We're not requiring doors in the back of the building.
No.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, if you go to 50 feet, you might have a little area for a little patio or a little area off the
Yeah.
back of it. You might be able to throw in a little slider and
Yep.
get some better.
I was thinking that too, because they're gonna have to do some reconfiguration of the site anyway,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I think the 50 feet will end up being a good thing.
Right.
For us, so.
You know, I think that your window well won't have to be so deep because you're not going to be popping it up on a
Yep.
very steep slope. So
Might be able to get rid of them.
I doubt it, but especially if you want to put the bedroom in the basement, you're going to need one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay. Was that just number 5 or did we do? Nope, looks like that's number 6 as well. Is this, oh, okay. Number 7, this goes to configuration for solar gain. This is another that's sort of a should, if you can do it, if you can take anything into consideration for future.
Yep. Yeah, we have two of them facing east-west, obviously.
Yeah, our comment here is when you're complying with the setback, take this solar gain requirement into consideration when you're making the changes that are otherwise required.
Yeah. I think on number 8 and 9 we just discussed. You know, the materials, the size of the windows, the facade, material, you know, things like that. So I think 8 and 9 are on that. Right.
I'd like an education outside of a time crunch on the walkout basement thing because I don't really understand it.
Yep, no problem.
Okay.
They're not doing a walkout basement, they're doing a window well, which will be window meeting, basement emergency egress, size, sill height, size of opening. You go out and there's a little ladder that climbs up and you're out great.
So you don't really see it from Spear Street.
No, you're gonna see like, well, maybe like an 8-inch rim of whatever material is more normal.
And it's usually
preformed.
sometimes we're concrete, sometimes it's plastic.
Yeah. You won't see it from the street.
Yeah.
The window's below grade, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 10, in addition to the walkway recommendations, staff considers this criteria requires the applicant to provide direct pedestrian egress site amenity without walking. I think this was something we discussed, correct?
This is about the site amenity and we haven't really gotten to site
Right,
amenity.
we haven't yet.
But there should be connection between each building. And can you go to the site plan again?
Yeah, looks like we need to connect the sidewalk from South Point, the one facing South Point. We
Yeah.
need to connect it to the ones on Spear
Yeah.
Street.
And obviously there's discussion about the site amenity later in the packet.
Yep.
You're definitely not going to meet a public park or a little pocket park size. There's
Yeah,
different things that you can do that are smaller.
Yep.
And
Yep.
especially with the setback and the reconfiguring of the
Yep.
driveway, you're definitely have to get a little creative.
yep,
And
yeah,
there's examples of it.
understood. The size requirement, I didn't realize that the
Yeah.
form-based code requirements still apply.
Yes.
So I'll
Yeah.
fix that.
Number 11. Yeah, that's the one where I just talked about. It gives you the calculations. You're going to need about a 1,200 square foot site amenity.
Yep.
Based on the 10 to 19 units, 85 square feet per unit. And there's different types of examples. We could give some site credit if you do it off-site, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure for 1,200 square feet, we'll find something.
And again, this is you're reconfiguring your site anyway with the 50-foot setback.
It will likely still be on the southern end.
Yeah.
With the buildings back and the parking lot 90 degrees, so it'd still be on the southern end.
Right.
Just be a little smaller than it is now, but
Yep.
we have plenty of space, so.
All right, but before we keep going, are there specific comments you need feedback tonight before you do your reconfiguration of your site plan?
The
Try to keep
sidewalk,
it in schedule.
the sidewalk piece of the site plan was what I had the most questions on.
Sidewalk along the street.
Yeah, but it sounds like if the buildings can face the parking lot, the sidewalk configuration that we have on your screen right now, if we connect the one that's facing South Point with the ones that are on Spear Street and connect those to our amenity, that's gonna meet the pedestrian requirements that I think that's kind of a summary of all the stuff we've talked about anyway.
Would this the sidewalk would not be in compliance with the city standard sidewalk?
What do you mean? Like meeting the city spec?
If this road had to be upgraded, it would be a city standard sidewalk, right? This is not what you're proposing. You're proposing something else.
Well, they're private,
This
so
is within the
Sure.
city.
Oh, I thought we were talking about from the
I wanted
site
to
to
talk about that.
from here to here.
That's what I wanted to talk
Oh,
about.
yeah, okay.
So
That's what I thought we were talking about.
you were talking about the sidewalk between buildings. It's still blurred.
yeah,
1 and 2 and
it's
3.
building 3 is the one.
Right.
That's South Point.
We're talking about adding a sidewalk that goes out to the road / private driveway and
Okay.
out to South Point Drive.
Okay. If you allow us to keep that right of way, or the driveway private, what if we went to the west side of the South Point building instead? That'd be acceptable.
Hmm.
So in between the storm pond and the building, facing South Point,
Let's see.
we ran a sidewalk. through
All,
that
all
corner.
the sidewalks are connected and then connect to the South Point.
Correct.
Is
Just
that sidewalk on South Point on the south side or south, is that being proposed or is that existing?
That's existing.
Okay. If we end up allowing a private driveway, I'd be comfortable with the sidewalk between.
Will that go through that hedge?
Gonna go to that hedge.
Sure, would go
Okay.
through the hedge, yes.
That's further in our discussions as well.
Just out of curiosity, is the reason not to do it on the west side of the driveway? Is that cost? Is it, what's the reason for that?
We could run it, it's generally the same length.
Yeah, it's just curiosity for me why you would propose.
It'd be closer to the two on Spear.
Got it.
But yeah, we could run it to the east side also. Now, if we're able to build a private drive and it does get upgraded to a public street, you'd have two sidewalks right next to each other.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, I think as Charlie's getting to, starting to back up against our time crunch. Was there anything specific from the staff comments you would like feedback on before we continue it to the 17th when we start continuing? Is there anything major that you feel? Because are you hoping to get this 50-foot setback site reconfiguration done for the
We can,
17th?
if Marlon, no,
I mean, unless you have it right now,
no, I
you
don't.
know, that doesn't give you any time to work.
Sounds like we should just continue
No,
our discussion on
And
the
I wouldn't
17th.
submit a full plan, but if I just make those changes and like turn off grading, utilities, whatever, so we can talk about how you feel, how it looks, then
Right.
I can have confidence when I grade it.
The thing is, the continuation of the 17th only gives me a week to write all the stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll have to reevaluate everything.
Okay,
Can I provide it as an exhibit so we can look at it all together here?
Knowing that you're not gonna get full feedback. on it.
Knowing we won't get staff feedback
Yeah.
beforehand, yeah.
yeah, if you have stuff.
You better
posted,
look at
that's
a picture, I
probably
imagine.
They'll have to be formally submitted. And,
Yep.
Incorporating
Something
future
New and
plans.
Tuesday, yep.
okay,
So yeah, if there's time after public comment, the one I would want to talk about is the landscaping.
which is 11. No, that's,
No,
sorry,
that's
let's carry
further.
that one further.
The budget?
The budget, yeah. But public comment first, and we'll have time on the 17th if we don't
Okay.
get to budget tonight.
Before I open up for public comment, anyone on the board have any general comment or questions? Okay, we'll open it up to public comment. Does anyone want to speak on tonight? Anyone online? Okay, do we want to do a few more minutes on discussion like the landscaping? Okay. All right, so Marla, which one was that specifically? 'Cause I think some of the other comments are more generic that you can address me and do
I
the,
think it's 22.
okay.
So if I can summarize it, and
Mhm.
Brian, please correct me if I get it wrong. So they have a required minimum landscaping budget of 29,500 for the proposed building cost. They're proposing about 70% of that in trees and shrubs, and they're asking for credit for the remaining 30% of it for retaining existing landscaping on site. So the plan that shows the existing landscaping, I found to be a little vague. There's a chart that says we're saving so many trees and so many shrubs, and it's page 29 of the packet, Alex. And it's sort of on the right-hand side of the page.
Notable existing
Notable existing
landscaping.
landscaping, yeah. My recommendation was that the board not provide credit for these trees unless the specific trees are called out as to be retained and like can be evaluated and shown with an APSC plan and confirmed that they are of high value and not just like generic unknown trees that are proposed to be saved.
So is this something where the city arborist will review it with the applicant or review what they submit and go out and do it?
Right, so his initial assessment was based on what they said, that it sounds like they probably are worth the 30% budget, but he doesn't know which trees those are.
We could do that.
But also the landscape claim will change when everything gets rotated and moved in 50 feet
Right.
too, so it could be different area, right? So.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think showing maybe like a different color or line type, 60% of
Everything
existing
that's
trees.
shown
Mhm.
here on this plan to the left is proposed trees, right?
Yeah.
All the
yeah,
green.
Everything green is.
You know,
Okay,
in the southwest corner, right, there's trees to be proposed where there's existing trees currently. So in my mind, you're cutting down trees and you're putting 3 trees back.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. So then how do I know what's being retained?
Well, it's primarily in the northwest corner. It's what is making up the hedgerow. So there's a pretty prominent hedgerow through there. We're looking to remove the area in front of our building in the access drive, but west, we're looking to keep that section there.
That counts as 70% of your budget.
It's a pretty dense hedgerow.
Yes, here.
You get some
I see the hedgerow.
Yeah, it's
That
not.
that would constitute $8,000 of that hedgerow.
Yeah, I mean, some of the trees are larger diameter. It takes a long time for a tree to get some of those sizes, but
Point is just, yeah, if we can have them.
yeah, I mean, we can locate what's there,
Yeah.
and if you folks want to see more.
No, I mean,
photos,
I guess the city arborist would have to comment on if they think that qualifies as.
yeah, it's just the call out for the hedgerow says it contains a mix of 6 to 12-inch cedar trees spaced 6 inches apart, which I think is perfectly adequate description of that hedgerow. But then if you go to the notable existing landscaping, it talks about apple trees, lime trees, maples, evergreens, ash, pine.
Right.
Those are the ones I'm not seeing.
we'll locate whatever's going to save on site.
Okay.
And we'll update our plans accordingly. And if you folks believe it meets the 30%, great. If you want to see a little more, then that too. So
Okay.
And good, okay, clearing. Is there a reason we have to clear up
That was
the
20.
way back? Is there a sight line distance or?
122.
primarily it was to present the building running on South Point. But
21 and 22.
seemingly the board is okay with the buildings facing the parking lot, so we could put that hedgerow back.
Yeah, I would just verify your line of sight.
Yep, yeah, we'll clear enough for that.
Yep.
But yeah, I think we'll put the hedgerow back with the understanding.
Is that gonna make for a healthy building? Is that super close?
It is a pretty narrow hedgerow, so we could look to remove any, larger crown type trees, but it's primarily made up of pretty big cedar trees. So, we can certainly look at it. It's kind of close. Maybe we could shift everything a little south, but
Because it looks like they're. I mean, I know this is just a red cloud, squiggle hedge, but looks like you're probably what 6 to 8 feet on the west side, and maybe out to 10, 12 feet on the east side.
the parking spaces are 18, so it's
18 feet. long.
the dash on it,
Right.
18 feet long. So it's, on the west side you're maybe 15, and on the east side you're more than 20.
Okay.
So it's close, but
How
it's
tall
not.
is the hedgerow?
It's pretty tall.
Okay.
Yeah, they're 20 plus. So yeah, it's close for sure. We might need to do some trim,
Recommend
but
members.
I don't know. We can talk about it, and if it makes sense to take them down, then maybe we'll take them down. But if we can leave them, then we may do that. So,
Why don't you take some photos of the
Right.
now without foliage on?
yeah, we included some photos in our application of some of those features. It was before the snow, so but
It looks like it was well before the snow.
it was before the
Well before the snow.
I'll take a drive. I'll take a
yeah,
drive.
no worries.
Well before the stick season.
Yeah, I think the board's practice has been to grant credit for existing notable trees that are to be retained. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that this hedgerow be considered towards landscaping budget, but if there are things like apple trees, maples, lime trees in Vermont, that's pretty cool. That might
Right.
definitely be worth landscape budget. It's just some confusion about where those are and if they're actually high value trees.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's probably a good place to stop tonight. So we still have some time for the sketch plan.
Yep.
So move to continue.
All right, then move. Can I get a motion to continue site plan application SB 2607?
Wait. I have my other written public comment.
Oh, okay. Don't have to reopen, close and reopen.
It's a different public comment. So this one was provided sort of generically, and I made the call to apply it to this project because it was more about site design stuff. So can you open that from the packet, or I can just, yeah, I can share my screen if you prefer. Okay. Your screen. No. This comment letter is from Paul and Joanne Travers, who are neighbors at 1725 Spear Street. They have comments asking about water pressure and if that can be evaluated. We haven't gotten to the comments on water, but and then there's comments about the setback and landscaping, comments about stormwater, which we also haven't gotten to, and then comments on who will be responsible for maintenance of the common areas. So feel free to pass those comments along to the applicant to respond to, or
Yep.
whichever.
Yeah, we'll incorporate them. We'll take them into account and want to send it to the applicant. Okay, thank you. All right, at this point, I think we have to get a motion to continue site plan application SP 2607 to March 17th.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay. Next, Carly, what do we have for this schedule wise? Till 9:15. Okay. All right, this is sketch plan application. That's K 2602. Let me just pull up that. Okay. Of Northeast Agricultural Trust to subdivide an existing 5.5 acre lot developed with a single family home into two lots of 2.0 acres, lot number 3, which is going to be up along Spear Street, and 3.5 acres, lot number 4, with lot 3 containing the existing single family home at 1730 Spear Street. Who's here for the applicant?
Brian Courier, Larry Burke, Civil Associates.
Same. Okay. This is the sketch plan, so we don't have to swear you in. Got it.
Right,
Okay.
so just putting it in the recording, because we don't have the cameras switching around, so it's Brian Courier, Tom Bellavance.
Okay. And it's a sketch plan, so don't need to swear you in. Okay, same thing. Why don't you give us a little rundown and we'll go through and provide some feedback and comment.
Yep, so I'll just talk about the proposal and probably can give an overview of what you see for the remainder of the property. But so what's in front of you is a 2-lot subdivision. Lot 3 is 2 acres along Spear Street, contains the existing single family house. The lot line is basically a 20-foot setback in the rear to that single family house. And then the balance of the lot is lot 4, which is roughly 3.5 acres in the rear of the property.
Okay.
So no developments proposed on either lot.
Marla, any comments that we should have as we start into this?
Nope.
Okay, so why don't we just get started going through staff comments? We'll address the ones in red.
We don't have 30 comments on this one, so this is-
No, sketch plan, and we're only reviewing items relevant at sketch level. Though as we discussed, there's going to be some things that we're going to discuss which are relevant to the previous two due to proximity and future development. Number 1, at the pre-application meeting with the applicant, staff anticipated that this application would be considered minor, but upon further review of the regulations considered, it is probably appropriately classified as a major subdivision. Staff recommends the board review the above standards and affirm or refute this conclusion. So,
And this was one for Frank, and I'm really disappointed he's not here.
I was saying that too.
So a minor subdivision is limited to, if you can scroll up just a bit to read those A, B, and C. Subdivision 1 to 2, yes. If both lots have either the required street frontage, no, or share highway access. Right, that was where I got stuck. They both have highway access, but they don't share it. Or a lot line adjustment that's not greater than a lot, so that's not met, and then a minor amendment is not that. So, yeah. I don't think they share, but maybe there's a way to interpret it that I'm missing.
I read that it's not a shared highway access via a permanent legal right of way, right?
Okay.
You would both have to be within the right of way for both lots.
Okay.
So am I understanding it right? Because the existing single family home accesses off of Spear,
Yeah.
but the lot in the rear, the access point is the Habitat 50-foot right of way being established because South Point is not Spear. That's the hang up.
I think the hang up was on the site plan that we have, right? You have a driveway access from 730 to Spear Street, then you're providing a 50-foot access for lot 4 to Spear Street because blinders on, right? We don't know about lot 1 if it's going to be approved or not. You have a 50-foot access easement from lot 4 to Spear Street. So that would essentially create 2 more additional driveway curb cut onto Spear Street. And I think the intention of this rule is to prevent additional curb cuts from a subdivision.
All right. And we're more than happy removing the access portion, that 50-foot easement.
It's not a major difference in the review process. I think it's described at the bottom of the page right now. Major subdivision requires preliminary and final, which can be combined, and minor subdivision requires only final plat. And then the other one is related to civic space. Major subdivision requires 10% of the lands to be subdivided onto dedicated civic space lots.
Is that 10% requirement when something's developed?
When it's subdivided.
Right, but how do we know how to configure?
Yeah, I
space?
would ask that too. Because if you appropriate 10% of the lot for civic space as part of the subdivision plan, but you haven't developed the future development plan, can that be floating? A floating 10%? No.
Right, and that's why I was trying to find a way to classify it as minor.
And like I said, getting rid of that 50-foot access easement to Spear.
That's not the issue that we were highlighting. Sorry for the confusion, but Charlie, we were talking about the fact that lot 4 is proposed to be accessed via lot 2 on the other parcel. Can you go to page 12 of the packet?
Right, so that the full lot currently, right, would have 2 separate accesses. The current lot 3, right, which is the full lot, currently has an access onto Spear Street. When you separate the 2 lots, they should have a shared highway access. And they don't.
Right.
What's being proposed is separating those 2 and having access along lot 2. So if they were combined back together, I could agree this is a minor subdivision.
Would that happen if they closed the curb cut on Spear and accessed the lot number 3, is it? Lot 3 off the right of way?
I would agree that then they would have a shared access to the right of way if they were both using that shared access.
And then it
Yeah.
could be
So you're
reclassified.
talking about the thing that's green.
So the green is the access to Spear Street for the new lot 4,
It's
right?
okay. That was that's a staff comment later on, because my understanding, and this is me using some pre-knowledge from having had a conversation with Tom, is that the access to lot 4 was the black line through lot 2 plus the red 50-foot right of way. And I wasn't sure why the 50-foot access and utility easement was called the 50-foot access and utility easement when I thought it was just for utilities.
It should just be for utilities.
Okay, so that's not supposed to be the access.
Okay, that's my confusion.
Yeah, no, because I was
Okay.
cheating. I talked to
Right.
him in advance.
Yeah.
So you are going to access into the lot
Right
will be accessed via the right of way that's part of lot 2.
Right.
Now, if they share a potential access to South Point, understanding the driveway exists on Spear Street.
Right.
That-
Sure, yeah.
But you don't want to give us a reason to try and access from Spear Street, right? Like
My preference
better
is
off
that you would
coming
close a
from
curb
South
cut on Spear Street. Yeah.
yeah, okay, so we're not willing to do that.
Okay.
So if we have potential access from South Point through the right of ways that are shown there, both lots have the potential to come from South Point. But we're not going to utilize the one for lot 3. If it gets further developed at some point in the future, my best guess in the city won't allow curb cut on Spear Street. It'll likely come from those right of ways in some fashion.
Let me read this back to you. The subdivision of the lot of one lot into two lots, if both lots have either the required street frontage or shared highway access via a permanent legal right of way.
Yep.
So both would have to share the same legal right of way, or both front on the same required street frontage.
Right, and I'm saying the access to South Point. Are we not saying that's a shared right of way to South Point?
They're both going to front on that.
The frontage, the lot in the back doesn't have frontage, so obviously that's clear. We don't meet that piece. But the right of way, shared right of way to South Point, as it's currently configured, that's shared access for both lots, just lot 3.
And you wouldn't develop a road on lot 3 because you currently have access to Spear Street.
We wouldn't, at this point in time, we don't want to relocate the driveway on lot 3.
So there would be an existing driveway to Spear Street and a right of way to,
Yeah, they'd have
The
both
right of way
existing ones.
To
Sure.
South Point's practically there.
In a single family home, I don't think the city's terribly worried about a single curb cut. Now, if there's another 12-unit project proposed on that lot at some point in the future, maybe the city then says, no, you have to access that right of way
Yeah.
coming off South Point. We don't want you to upgrade your access on Spear Street, which would be understandable at that point.
Marla, does that, if they propose the easement to come to lot 3 and lot 4, that does come down and tie into lot 3 and 4 from South Point, the easement on lot 2, but they still keep the curb cut for the single family. But for future development,
I think it explicitly mentions right of way. Doesn't say driveway or anything like that. It says right of way.
It says share highway access via a permanent legal right of way.
Right.
So I think that's up to you guys to decide. Like I said, this was really one for.
Yeah.
For land use lawyer.
You already know what I want the answer to be, but that doesn't mean that I think that it should be.
Right. Might need to buy.
Noodle on it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like this is a pretty big one that you need to go one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is, I mean, with whatever development may occur on lot 4, likely civic space is going to be required anyway.
Right, but the flexibility of not knowing where your 10% is. If it's a major.
I mean, we could propose it within the wetland buffer because I know that's not going to get developed. But other than that, I mean, I don't think that's.
I think the whole point of this is to avoid the 10%. It's a minor application, correct?
No, yeah, I understand.
Right,
Mark
it's just a
saying
way for not having to commit to the
Right.
10% now.
Yeah, and put it on your subdivision plan, knowing that you have no idea what it's going to look like in the future.
Yeah, like I said, we could I mean, if you folks are okay with it, we can certainly say lot to be developed in the future. Where
I'm
10%
reading the
service-
board as split right now. I'm reading half of the board members is saying, no, the right away, the access has to be there. And the other half is saying having the rights to access is adequate.
I think the rights is adequate. Is that what,
That's
are you
right.
saying Ted and me agree? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm seeing that and then,
No, I'm actually saying that the rights, as long as it exists, and for the future, especially if let's just say you do decide to develop
Yep.
lots 3 and 4 down the road.
Yep.
With more, you have an easement that requires you to utilize it.
Right.
You would not be able to future development right away.
Yep.
You would not be able to use the curb cut on Spear Street as long as the lot stays a single family
Yep.
development, but you provide an easement into the lot.
Yep.
I think I would say that my interpretation is it's a minor subdivision.
Majority.
Okay.
so take that for what it is. You have 4 board members. There'll be 2 more when you come in for your subdivision.
Yeah.
That's the feedback. That might be the best feedback you're going to get in a non-binding discussion.
Okay. And the one thing about that is your 50-foot right of way that goes off on a little angle through the developable lot.
Yep.
Needs to go straight through and just be the right of way running north-south.
Yeah, so this was added after Habitat had submitted. So I understand it's on lot 1 and should be represented in those plans, and we'll
Yep.
be sure to include that. So it's a smooth
Right.
the way through there.
Okay, so that's number 1. Sounds like Right now, you have a majority of the board that says you can be classified as a minor. Obviously, there's 3 more board members that are well, Don can never say 2 more board members that will be able to weigh in on that.
Okay.
And it is a sketch plan, we're just giving the direction. But
Okay.
if we hear otherwise, we're for the discussion, but
Yeah. So
The point is when you go to submit for a minor application, right? there will be
yeah.
Other board members, some of them have more legal understanding of what this rule and the spirit of the law is,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
They may not agree that should be a minor.
Right. And we would submit to you folks a minor application and learn that at the meeting.
but you might get, what happens if we're split 3-3?
Can you go back up to the standard? I just reread it again.
Okay.
I think it's my decision.
Oh,
All right.
here we go.
Oh, they'll be classified by the administrative officer.
But that's me.
Please take the power out of our hands.
Oh, great. This is why I like you guys, because you get to make the hard decision.
Well, you heard what the majority of the current board said
Yeah.
tonight.
I agree with the majority of the board.
Okay.
I think that I read it as
Okay.
they share. Oh,
And there's a spirit of law.
You're just like, yeah.
oh,
They share the rights. to
Okay.
access and spirit.
well,
Fine.
how about I withhold a decision right now, but you can call me on Friday.
Okay. Okay, so it's like we're getting on to,
I think you can skip 2.
item number 2 is the applicant has called out the connection to lot 4 through lot 1 is a 50-foot right of way. Staff recommends the board confirm with the applicant whether it's their intention to provide this as a right of way, i.e. roadway parcel offered to the city for purposes of public access, or as an access easement. Is that the
That's the
green?
green, yeah.
Okay, so that we've resolved.
Yeah.
It's just utility easement.
Correct. The green is just the utilities and
Yeah,
red
okay.
would be a public offer to the city.
Skip down to 6.
Well, this is
Oh.
sketch and we're not necessarily continuing, right? So should you skip anything?
Right, that's it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Staff recommends the board ask the applicant to explain why they have proposed to access lot 4 via the connection to the proposed right of way at the property of 1730. Staff notes there's no requirement that lot 3 be exactly 2 acres, nor are they aware. Oh, yeah, that's great. Nor are they aware of any reason an easement on lot 4 is not as viable as an easement on 1720 Spear Street. This is discussed in more detail under 15 A10 A1 below.
So if you go to page 12 again. This is about the thing in red on lot 1.
Lot 1,
Now that
right?
we are all ultimately familiar with lot numbering.
Right.
Yep.
The question is, why is it?
I think we just discussed
We
that.
talked about bending the line. So that
Well, are you saying, Marley, you want the rear, or the suggestion is the lot line being created should tie to the western side of that 50-foot right of way line? The western edge of that? Is
we're
that-
split it, right? So that they both have access to the.
No, the comment was, why does the access to lot 4 not come off of the edge of
The new line, right?
the new line? Like
That's-
the
that's
bottom
fine.
edge.
Yeah. We can certainly adjust it.
I think you know what we're talking about in terms of both lots need to access on the same easement.
Yeah, otherwise it creates kind of a
Yeah.
weird little
Right.
jog there, so I
Right.
think it's a good suggestion.
Yeah, as well as the fact that lot 4, it's we're gonna be well over 2 acres. So if you need to float the red line between lot 3 and lot 4.
Yep.
To make the easement
Yeah.
cleaner.
Yeah, we could just do a whole triangle through there, you
Okay.
know, and just leave it
Yep.
simple.
Yep.
Yep.
And however you do it, you probably have to grant easement from the easement to either lot 3 and 4 if it splits it.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there'll have to be some tricky, because it'll be
Right.
offered as a public right of way.
Right.
There'll have to be a temporary easement until the city council accepts it across the entirety of lot 2.
Yep.
But nothing unusual.
And 4, the subdivision is a major subdivision. Staff recommends the board confirm with the applicant as they understand that civic spaces must meet all requirements of one of the civic space types in Article 11B and have frontage on or direct pedestrian access from an abutting street. The required civic space would be approximately half an acre. So, correct.
Yeah, so 5 is about the potential location.
Mhm.
Civic space lots must have frontage on or direct pedestrian access from the abutting street. So if you go back to that map. And that roadway gets reconfigured. The civic space would need to be touching
The public right.
the road. The future potential road for lot 4.
Right.
And so there's a lot of different standards at play, but one of the standards is that when you build a road, it has to be extended to the property line. And so you can sort of imagine that and if you pan down just a bit, you can see that there's really nothing in South Village for it to extend to. So the thing that it might make most sense to extend to is the east. So you can sort of start to imagine that the street on lot 4, when it is developed, needs to go from the northwest corner of lot 4 to the southeast corner of lot 4, taking whatever route through lot 4 is most appropriate for the development. And so imagining if that civic space lot needs to happen, it needs to be along that roadway. So you can sort of at this time, and this is almost an advantage for the applicant at this time, while they still have control of both pieces, decide where they want this to go.
If it's a major.
I think I'm going to talk to our attorneys about that.
I think so. I think
Basically, it's the future road that you'll have to put in when and if lots 1 and 4 get developed, if they get conjoined and developed as a single lot.
Yep.
Then the road that's going to connect from the old private driveway for the 12 lots that's not going to be upgraded to a public road is going to have to continue probably somewhere along the property line between 3 and 4 to the South Village property line, and then run east-west up to the 64 square foot road connecting up Sweat and North Jefferson. That'll create sort of like the access road that the development can connect off of.
I personally see the road hugging the wetland buffer, or even getting away from the wetland buffer, so homes can be on both sides. Eventually, you got to get some efficiency. So it's going to split the difference. If it ever came to fruition,
right?
It would split the difference between the wetland buffer and south.
Could do that.
Is how I see it. And maybe the civic space would be clustered on the west or east side or whatever.
Right. So. Okay. Number 5, staff considered the civic space would best serve. Or was that what we just did? We just did 5. Okay, moving on to number 6. Staff recommends the board direct the applicant to provide an illustrative plan as described at the next applicable stage of review. So, the civic space.
So an illustrative plan is required. It has nothing to do with major or minor. This is for subdivisions that are more than minimum residential density. So this is where you determined for the previous subdivision application that the proposed subdivision does not impact the development potential of the remaining lands. In this case, because of physical separation, here there isn't such a physical separation. So the alternative is for them to provide this illustrative plan, which is described a little bit above as a bubble diagram showing a feasible arrangement of, and then it goes a little into the next page.
That's the stop plan that we're just showing typical, whatever it may be, 4plexes, 12plexes, whatever meets your minimum density standard. And we're showing a conceptual road layout. Right. Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah. And also this I don't know if it was in here. I forgot if it was in here or the previous from the housing types. You need to show a better mix.
Yep. I saw that. Yep.
Yeah. 3, 12, 4 unit. Yeah. Okay. So that was item number 7. Director of Planning Zoning, the blue comments, review the plans and offers the following comments. So, all right. Number one, understand the sketch plan. This is a sketch plan, hard to base on submitted material and whether requirements of 1508 can be met. Most specifically, unclear how the standards related to connectivity, civic space, and minimum density. I think that obviously goes to when you come back with an illustrated plan in there, showing how you're going to hit them.
Okay.
Just showing it doesn't mean, okay.
Am I right in thinking that at the next stage of their application, they have to respond to each of these, the blue? Is that what we're doing? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what's asked of us.
Yep. Yep. So does this, I would recommend the board provide minimal direction on the plan until it's prepared. Yeah. So until, when you come back with a minimal there, illustrative plan, so we can sort of see the,
Yeah,
proposed
we can talk
thoughts.
with Paul too, make sure we're
Okay.
meeting what he's expecting.
Connectivity, proposed arrangement of the north-south right of way in the adjacent application and a proposed 50-foot diagonal right of way, which is also in the adjacent lot, appear to be uncoordinated with one another. That we discussed that. We're going to work on cleaning that up. Yep. Okay. Proposed use of right of way plan as part of the separate application for the board to access lot 4, right of access. Okay. Clean, that's going to be all cleaned up as part of the.
Yeah, the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Things seems like number C is the same thing. A 50-foot short, 50-foot right of way. Then D, east-west easement is described as a utility in the cover letter, but as we discussed that it's not a
Just
vehicular. It's just utility.
Yeah.
Okay, applicant should show how circulation access on lot 4 would be connected back to the street network and does not run afoul of the prohibition on dead-end streets greater than 200 feet in length.
Yeah, my understanding is as long as we build, which if lot 4 got developed, as long as we build that road,
Yes.
to,
Both roads,
to the property
north,
line.
south, and
If that did get, or I'm sorry, as long as we go to the property line, my understanding is 200 feet doesn't apply. So that would be our intention.
Go to the westerly, on the easterly property line,
Easterly, yeah.
and it would end there because there is no road or easement being offered on the lot. It would end at a dead end,
It would end in the end of lot 4.
but you would meet your connectivity requirement.
Well, I think, the question is about the 200 feet. The 200 feet only applies if it's permanent. So we would show a road to the eastern limit of lot 4, which, yes, the expectation would be at some point that it would tee into a future road between North Jefferson and South Point.
which would be required as part of that development.
If it is required, then yes. I personally think the connection is inevitable, but I don't think we need to rehash that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll cross that bridge.
Yeah.
Not
Not involved lands with this application, so.
Right.
So.
Okay, number 7, with the direct comments of the director not otherwise superseded by adjustments made as part of the next application, staff recommends the board direct the applicant to include specific responses to each of these comments at the next stage of review. Yep. Okay. Number 8, as a complement to the illustrated plan, staff recommends the board direct the applicant to provide a circulation plan, including a logical plan for access to lot 4 by a direct extension of the proposed street on 1720 Spear Street, originating at the boundary between the 2 existing parcels. Staff notes this does not have to be a perfectly straight extension and may dogleg to accommodate the necessary setbacks to the existing homes on proposed lot 4.
Yeah, I think we might do the right way as a triangle to leave the whole, thing open.
Right.
But
Gives you some flexibility.
yeah, whether it's a T, a dog leg, or
Yeah.
if we can get a curve that meets city standards, then great.
Is it important for me to understand right now what Brian's talking about with the triangle?
Instead of having the right of way kind of veer off to the side, I'm saying to make it right of way the entirety.
He
of the
might
triangle.
include that little triangle red with the straight, so it
Yeah.
comes down.
The right of ways
Gives
don't
them a
have to
bigger-
be 64, they can be more. Anyway, for
I think I understand, and okay.
If you did like a sweeping right away, it would create,
So you're proposing to change your proposed subdivision plan?
No, just the, instead of the right of way being kind of, straight line and then a diagonal line. Either to make that sweeping or to include that little no man's land, the triangle there, just to the right of the cursor right there. To include that within a dedication to the city. To give more flexibility, as that area is, kind of a weird little. So,
So again, changing the proposal for lot 2.
And lot one.
that would all take place on lot 1.
Could take place on lot 1.
Yeah.
That goes to buildable area.
Yeah, I'm not talking about adjusting anything on lot 2, just how we're
Correct.
getting to lot 4 through lot 1.
Right.
I don't think that the city standards would allow a road to have a road off of it from at 30-degree angle.
Yeah, I'd have to look and see what city specs require for minimum radius.
You're not talking about having a road off a road, or you're just talking
No,
about
I'm talking
the road-
about curving
the road will
or
take like a little bit of a jog within the right of way.
Yeah,
right, so the road would potentially go onto lot 1.
so it would start
Lot
at some
one's
point,
gonna be,
go halfway through that dedicated right of way, but then it would start turning towards that 50-foot right of way because there's a house in the way.
Right.
So if that were to be the way to access lot 4, then it would need to be provided as a right of way
In the other.
and the other application.
Yep. We know that. I know. So this was done after Habitat submitted. So we'll have to, in Tom's line, both. And
I'm a little baffled by why that's a good idea and why it's not a better idea to just connect off of the end of lot 2 at an and curve a little bit on both properties.
putting them right away on lot 3, that close to the house.
If you come off the southern
The
limit,
setback's 15 feet.
Yeah. I think it'd look better if it curved sooner. But if we dedicate that entire triangle like I'm talking about, either way is acceptable or possible.
other than being odd, is there anything in the regulations that prevents from doing a right of way like that?
it's just, as we talked earlier, the developer of lot 4 will need to build the road through that 50-foot right of way to get to, or the lot 1 right of way to
Right,
get
as
to lot
opposed
2 right
to
of way.
using a road that is already built. They'd have to build more road in order to make lot 4 developable.
If we determine that they have to build a public road all the way to the property line as part of the 12 unit development.
Yes.
If we don't do that, right, we tell them they don't have to go to the property line, right? This future developer for lot 4 will now have to build cross lot 1 into lot 2 and rehabilitate lot 2's road to a public right of way or public road. With the curvature, right?
Yeah.
If you push the curvature back onto lot 3 and 4, then you can avoid
Right.
building on lot 1.
I
You might be under a different
Yeah.
ownership plan.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I guess I'm assuming that the road's not gonna get built to the southern property line on lot 2. I'm assuming it's gonna be like halfway.
Right,
Road
yeah.
private, so when it gets upgraded to a public road, my illustration plan will show that that roadway has a curvature to it that basically follows that wetland buffer until it gets onto lot 4, where it's gonna pull away and leave buildable space on the north and south side on lot 4 from the wetland buffer and South Village on the south. So it's just gonna be one curve that's gonna terminate kind of in the midpoint of the eastern side of lot 4, which eventually would be continued down the T into that.
So the right of way is going to be both a irrevocable offering to the city and as well as letting the owner know that lot 4 has the right of way to construct on their property, basically.
Yeah, so I think we're required to make sure lot 4 it has developable potential to your minimum densities, but the right of way would be both an offer to the city and an access easement.
Sorry, it would be the city's property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if larger development was proposed, my understanding is the board would require a public road, and that's when it would be designed fully. So
Mhm.
In the interest of time, I can shut my mouth about this, but I don't think I agree with what the applicant's proposing as the board's. Board's called to provide their feedback now. If the board's feedback is, yeah, the red right of way is fine the way it is, I think that in the next stage of review, staff will make a stronger argument than was made in this report. And if you still disagree, that's your choice to do so, but I think right now I would strongly disagree with the way they have it shown.
If the thought is to, whether you end up having to build a public road all the way on the property line, or you're able to do it as a private driveway and build it later.
Mhm.
And your intention is to bend the road, follow the curvature of the wetland.
Yep.
Why not just revise the 50-foot right of way?
Yep.
To just include that and add a little more land into lot number 2.
Oh, the trouble is lot 2 is already at 2 acres and you can't do more than 2 acres. Crazy idea. Think about this. You don't have to answer now. What if the right of way for lot 2 weren't actually on lot 2? What if lot 2 were the left-hand black line and lot 1 were included the right of way? So it got you under the 2 acres. And you could
Yeah.
curve it.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to answer now, just a crazy idea.
Well, yeah,
I don't know, as long as we're in agreement that lot 2 is less than 2 acres, however we.
Right, so lot 2 has to be 2
Okay.
acres or less in
Yeah.
order to be considered an exempt from master plan.
Okay.
And so right now, the property line for lot 2 is the right-hand side of that double black line.
Oh.
And so if they were to add more to it, they're more than 2 acres and they don't get to be exempt from master
Let's
plan anymore.
Make them a lot.
So if there was some way to call, I don't know the other repercussions of this. This is just a crazy idea. But if they called the left-hand block line lot 2 and everything right the left-hand block line lot 1, then they have more flexibility on the
Move
configuration.
50-foot offset.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that changes is instead of that right of way being held by Habitat, it'd be held by.
Yeah, and so like I said, there might be other repercussions. This is my
No,
crazy.
that's simple enough. It's an irrevocable offer, so it doesn't matter who the city accepts it to, whether it's Tom or Habitat. It's the same thing.
It sounds like you have some ideas on how you think this could work.
Yeah, I mean,
You could
it's-
share with us at the next.
Yeah, it's however the legal document.
I'll be honest with you, in my own opinion, if the right of way is held by Tom rather than Habitat, it gives more control over us making him build the road to city standard at a later date, rather than Habitat owning the right of way and it being having to build to city standards.
If it's owned by the developer of lot 1.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Then Habitat just is getting lot number 2 probably ends up being 1.6 acres or something, whatever that is. But same buildable area, same project. And the control of the right of way is still in Tom's court for down the road having to upgrade it.
Of course, is the developer of the retained lot, right? Not going on to someone else's lot at that point. You're retaining those rights, you're retaining all that responsibility. Yeah.
And if the right of way does bend and follow the curvature.
Yeah.
You can, the Habitat, you can get a little more of that little sliver,
Yeah.
which might be what you need for the amenity.
You then also could probably do a minor lot adjustment between 3, 1, and 4 and allow the civic space to on 4 to front on the road. Right? You know, where that little jog is, right?
Right.
Probably can get a minor lot adjustment and then come to the full subdivision of 4. And your civic space can fit within the buffer if it's allowed, though it's a class 3. So
It can't be in the buffer. That's specifically prohibited.
maybe by then it won't be a wetland.
Well, I think it's an interesting thing to discuss.
Yeah, no, I like the direction. So
Seems like if you can work it out the details with staff.
Okay.
The board is probably amenable to some flexibility.
yeah, great. Thank you.
Okay. We are starting to go over, but I think we're wrapping up. So it's just, there's some blue comments from Water Department on top of page 10. I'm assuming those are just sort of plant specific comments for down the road.
Yep, no problem.
Okay. And then number 9, staff recommends the board to ask the applicant to clarify what is meant by this being an access easement. We've already done, so that's good. Okay, that's all the staff comments. Any comments from the board? Okay, at this point, let's open it up for anyone in the audience wanting to make comments on this. Nope. Okay, anything, Marla, you need?
I did not receive any public comments written. Let me check the Zoom. Nope.
Now, is this one that we want? Can we close this, or do we want to leave it open? I know, I'm just letting it. Did we want to continue? We can continue the sketch plan.
If you want to potentially discuss the classification board,
Sounds like that's just going to be a differential between.
I'm going to talk to the attorney.
Yeah,
I'd ask,
and they'll just need to know what they submit when they come back for us.
I'd ask you if you want to continue it to provide us more illustrations, to get more feedback, right? With the roadway alignment.
Yeah.
If you do want to flip the right of ways, right? Because at this point, you're trying to get feedback from us so that when you go to your
Right.
minor or major,
Yeah.
you don't have an issue.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm fine with the illustrative stuff. We can talk with Marla. And we'll work out the classification on Friday. And
Okay, so we're just going to end the sketch plan at this point.
I feel comfortable.
Yep.
If you do. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right.
One for Tuesday night, huh? Right.
All right.
That's fun.
We take the 5-minute break, the 2-minute break,
Yeah, let's compromise. Let's do a 3-minute break.
3-minute break.
All right, I'm back on. I'll see you in 3.
All right.
Okay.
Is it on? Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay. Thank you, Marla.
Yep.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Dawn.
Okay,
Yep,
hi.
ready.
Thanks again, Mark, for doing all that.
No problem. But it don't cause too many problems. Oh, but you're not going to be doing it next time either.
No, well, I'm recused, yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Built it in Quinn's line.
The next item, number 8 on the agenda, is the master plan sketch plan application SK 2604 of Beta Technologies, Inc. to amend and approve 40.43 acre commercial master plan for a manufacturing facility and multiple related facilities. The amendment consists of increasing the area to 44.62 acres and increasing the commercial square footage in the manufacturing building and flight instruction building phases at 3070 Williston Road. Okay, let me go back into Zoom. Oops. Who is here for the applicant, please?
Alex Gagnon with Beta Technologies.
Hi,
And,
Alex.
Chris Gendron with Stantec Consulting Services.
Okay. Familiar faces. It's sketch plans. It's sketch plans, so I don't need to swear you in. I just have a question. So, Marla, this is a major master plan amendment, correct? But it's the sketch plan for it?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, good. Okay, you guys know the drill. We go through the comments and get your responses or identify any areas that need to be clarified or information that needs to be provided. Before we get started, is there anything you want to tell the board?
Yeah, I think I'd like to just sort of, is that you guys getting feedback or is that okay?
Sure.
Maybe I'm not used to that being this loud. Yeah.
I can turn it down, but it's going to turn down us too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, just sort of like an overview of the plan here. And obviously we were in front of you guys with this master plan not too long ago. And Beta's changed a lot over the past few years since we had originally submitted this. So yeah, just the background on why we're here. A few years ago when we had come to you with this plan, we had a vision for how this company was going to grow and change over the foreseeable future, the 10 years of the life of the master plan. Since we were in front of you with this master plan, we've learned a lot about what it takes to grow an aerospace company. And what we've learned is that having our supply chain under our control and keeping our people in close proximity is really what's going to make us successful. It's really hard to compete in this space. And so as much control as we can have over the disparate aspects of our supply chain is just going to benefit us. So what you're seeing in this master plan is really just a reflection of that. It's us trying to bring more of our supply chain in-house. So the building, rather than doubling in size, is doubling size and then some to be able to give us more space to build our aircraft, to build our motors, to build our batteries, all under one roof. And when I say all under one roof, I should add that like really the intent of this building is to build the aircraft in here. It's on the apron. And then allow ourselves some space to do some of those sub-assemblies as well. But there's definitely a larger vision where over the next couple of years, and really could be within a year, we'll be iterating on this plan, and you'll see sort of more of that supply chain show up in different facilities within the area. So this is really what you're seeing here is what we need to be successful over the next couple of years to be to meet some of our milestones and some of our commitments. So it's expanding the production facility, like you mentioned, and then the training hangar is also expanding. So the Elite aircraft, our electric aircraft, is has a 50-foot wingspan. It's a fairly large aircraft. So as we're delivering to clients and training pilots from all over the world, all of our clients that are flying in here and doing their training, they're going to be doing it at this facility, as well as A&Ps, aircraft mechanics. It really became clear as we were starting to dial in the program that we were going to need more space, more hangar space, and more training space to be able to keep the training at pace with the rate that we were going to be producing these aircraft. Project will be producing them.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Don can only see the backs of your head because we don't have someone operating the camera. So
I actually can't see anything because I'm looking at my marked up version of the report. So I'm flying blind here. So the first comment asks you to describe the changes in the enumerated locations that are above number 1. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you could just run through those and tell us why the changes are and what they are, or describe the changes.
I think this is in response to the change in the master plan boundary specifically. And I'll go through each one. The first one says on Eagle Drive, there actually hasn't been a change to that master plan boundary on Eagle Drive, and I worked with staff to figure that out. We're just maintaining what it was under the original master plan. There was this exhibit you see here is illustrative. The exhibit that we also sent is a campus site plan, which is more specific about it. So there was a discrepancy between the two, but we worked that out and we'll get that figured out for the next application.
I think what was really helpful that you explained to me, Chris, so I'm going to say it again for the board, is that the red line represents what you're proposing now, and the orange line represents what was on the master plan site plan.
Right.
The master plan equivalent of this plan had a slightly off illustrative line, but this compares the old engineering plan master plan boundary to the new proposed master plan boundary.
Yeah, thanks for describing that, because that'll help as I go through these. And the next one is at the northern edge of the parking lot associated with the approved flight instruction building. That one's general. It's pretty obvious that building got bigger, so our master plan boundary was not big enough to fit that building, so we had to make it bigger. The northern edge of the parking lot.
Yeah, I think, Chris, this was when I was comparing the old illustrative plan to the new engineering plan that I wrote these comments. So I don't think this plan shows any changes at Eagle Drive or on the northern edge of the parking lot.
Gotcha.
But the third one is the as yet unapproved northern wing of the flight instructor building, which is what you just described.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Oh,
I see what you're saying.
Alex, if I could direct your cursor up here.
Yeah, so number 1 and 2 are the same comment, essentially. And then at the geothermal well field north of the manufacturing building, the geo well field installation, we can almost see where they did it, was bigger than we anticipated once they got out there and started drilling. So we're incorporating that area. And then east of the aircraft apron, north of the manufacturing facility. East of the aircraft. That area, this will actually combine into the next two. After doing all this, after doing these 2 building expansions, we were at a point where we were at like 31% building coverage. And we know that we could use this land in the future. So we're taking a little additional master plan boundary to get the more green space and help our lot coverage calculations, but also there may be some good use in that area in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Board, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question, right? So I wasn't here for the original master plan, so maybe I just don't understand some things, right? This is airport property.
Correct.
Yes. Yep. And the master plan is to essentially identify all of the developments that are going on within, I guess, this boundary, right? We know that there is development adjacent to this boundary based off of other airport activities. And as the applicant, co-applicant, right, wouldn't those additional development areas need to be included into this master plan as the owner of the property and co-applicant?
Is that a question for us?
I guess it would be to your co-applicant.
Yeah, so that there's 2 master plans for the airport. There's one that is Beta's master plan.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the airport is under the airport's master plan.
Sure. But at number 2 on your diagram, right, we talked about the Burlington Technical Center development, right? And that parking lot is within this master plan boundary, right?
It'll be separate. It'll be a portion of that lot is actually within the BTV master plan boundary. If it's not, then we can make those adjustments now. It's
Right, because I think the big thing when I was looking at that is that parking lot, right?
Mhm.
Is, I guess, split with that red line boundary. And I would remove it or incorporate it, right?
Yeah, that might be another addition to one of those numbers. Like maybe we pull that back.
That's what I was thinking, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously on Eagle Drive, the airport was looking to put in a building there.
Mhm.
Was it the airport or was it you? Who was putting the building?
Where are you
on Eagle
talking
Drive?
about?
Off of Eagle Drive.
Yeah,
We have a building that's being built just north of the master plan.
so it is you developing an under master plan? Okay, all right, that's interesting.
Okay,
Yeah, that hangar was gonna be built by someone else and we took over at the last minute.
And then, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
And then I have another location. Obviously, there is maybe another building being redeveloped on Calkins Court, right? Is there any other adjustment to that lot line that we want to make at that location?
You mean to the master plan line?
Yes.
Yeah, no, not at this point. We feel like they're sort of the operations are not necessarily connected. I sort of spoke to this in my intro, but I think there will be iterations of this. Like I call it the Pete's RV lot where all those RVs are parked, right? That is beta owned property at this point. And so there's gonna be a follow-up iteration as we try to expand our presence around the site, where we come back with a revised master plan and show some of this expansion. But at this point, we don't feel like we would need to update the master plan to pick up some of those.
So I guess my general question is, if truly this is a master plan for the owner of the lot and that you are implementing on their behalf, right? And that other lots that you're doing development on, for example, Pete's RV or Calkins Court, right? That's up to you. You have the city's regulations, right? But all of this includes airport involvement. And that we have to have two separate master plans for the same property for the same owner on a singular lot. That's where I was trying to get to. Is if we're really opening this up, I'm going to ask that question.
Yeah, so the board sort of made that decision in 2021. I think before the regulations required a master plan. For Beta. Beta chose to do a master plan for the portion of the airport that they were leasing in order to get some advantages, to get the phasing plan, to get the ability to spread out lot coverage between the different areas, between the different projects, that sort of thing. Before 2021, this was broken into, I want to say 7 lots or 5 lots or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so the master plan had a subdivision associated with it to consolidate all these lands into one lot as well. It's the subdivision consolidated the different lots into the main airport parcel. There was no requirement for the airport to do a master plan at the time. So the fact that the airport ended up being caught in the requirement to do the master plan came after Beta chose to do a master plan. And I don't think the question was ever asked of like, should the Beta master plan just be expanded to incorporate the whole airport? Because it felt sort of backwards to require the small guy to incorporate the big guy. But I think you're asking an interesting question.
In general, I'm okay with there being, for example, 2 master plans on the airport, let's say airport north and airport south, right?
Mm-hmm.
What gets confusing is when you have multiple developments right next to each other, right? The Eagle Drive and the Burlington Technical Center are developments, right? And they're right next to your master plan development. It's almost like they should be included by the technical owner of the lot, right? I understand it's not your, well, have one of those as your work, right? Should be part of this, right? That's where I'm trying to get at. It's almost like we're ignoring the fact that it's right next to this development.
What do you see as the problem with that, Charlie?
Well, there's other requirements, right? Things start to trip up because they, for example, they might have to adjust these lines even more because if you included the Eagle Drive building, right? You have more building area within this master plan. I can totally understand Calkins Court and Pizza. They're totally different properties and they're solely owned by you, right? But this is development by you on the same lot, adjacent to your master plan. I might think that it would get included within the lot line or the master development line.
Again, for what reason? I'm not trying to be
Again,
difficult. I'm genuinely trying to
They
understand.
have to expand their non-developed area within their master. Right? The whole point is
Yeah.
on the easterly side, they expanded that so that their percentage of developed building area, right, was less than the 30%, right?
Mhm.
They include the Eagle Drive building, they would have to expand that even further.
Yeah, I think where it gets a little tricky is it like the last comment in here of who's going to manage the master plan. And so this is our leased area that we are able to manage and control. So I think that's, yeah, it's tricky. I don't know if I have a great response for you on that, but that was sort of where I would go just because we are a separate owner and we are leasing this area.
To also match the lease lot lines now as well, right? So if you're adjusting your master plan lines, you're going to adjust your lease lot lines as well.
Yes, yep.
And the building on Eagle Drive is not leased.
The building on Eagle Drive, the new hangar, that is a ground lease.
So, so Charlie, what do you see, what are you suggesting, if anything, that the applicant do or we do in order to proceed?
Yeah, I think from a sketch plan point of view, I would definitely adjust the lot line or the master plan line not to include lot 2, where the Burlington Technical Center parking lot is, right? Unless you are leasing it, and including it in development, right? And if you're leasing the lot that the new building's on that's adjacent to this development, and you are the developer of that lot, in my mind, it's part of the overall plan development of this sector, right? And should be included in this master plan.
Or are you also saying there shouldn't even be a Beta master plan? It should just be an airport master plan.
But that's a bigger question, right?
Yeah.
I think we could have 2 if that's a planning and zoning issue, right? And maybe they can provide me clarity. But I like the idea of having a north and south because then you can leverage different things. I do think it might trip up. Oh, okay. So there's a shared community or the community rec path, right? That's being created because there was not enough room on the lot for civic spaces. That's not technically, I mean, could be provided in this space, right? So I guess there would have to be a master plan for the entire lot.
So Marla, what's your take on this?
Hadn't really thought about this in advance. I think that I think that there is a natural delineation between Beta's leased area and things that are not leased by the airport to Beta. But also I see your point that like that boundary is changing. I think that little nugget that I heard from Alex just now, and that maybe you want to expand on a little bit, is that there are more changes that are too fuzzy to propose right now, but you are thinking longer term and about how you might need to adjust the master plan long term. And today what you're asking for is what the minimum needed to do the things that are on your short-term horizon.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Marla. So, really what we're trying to do here is sort of honor what the decisions were for the original master plan and make what are sort of minor changes to it.
Yeah.
And I know that's nothing you guys can sort of plan for, but that is fully our intent, is to come back with a revised master plan. And I think it's, just going back to what I said earlier, like, I think the master plan should sort of follow who's going to be controlling that development. So even as we talked about Pete Serby, it's not on the airport property, but I would think it would be appropriate to incorporate that into the master plan as we're thinking about how we appropriately develop this site.
Yeah, I'm just trying to avoid, because obviously on other, not, when you lease other lots, right? For example, the airport drive line, we had this whole discussion about minor lots, right, between the travel lanes of where the planes are, and all of that got confusing because, again, it's part of the overall airport property. Same thing with their development of the terminal, right? Well, we don't have land for civic spaces. I guess that's not technically true, right? Because it's just down part of their land that they're leasing to. They just don't have control leasing it at this point, right? Could they have put those civic spaces on the lot in this location?
Yeah.
Right? Should there be an overall master plan for one lot, or, you know, two separate? One is the purpose of land that's leased by you, which would include Airport Drive, the Eagle Drive, all of this land, right? And land that's not leased by you. I don't know.
You're just asking questions.
I'm asking questions to help simplify a review in the future, because if the airport comes back in and they want to continue other developments, right? If they want to continue, let's say you guys want to build another terminal, right? How do we balance other improvements being done on your lot with technically these are improvements on your lot as well?
Yeah, and sorry, what is the balance that you would be trying to strike there?
I think a master plan specific to your leased properties and a master plan specific to non-leased properties.
Gotcha.
So right now, leased properties that are not included in this, though, include the general aviation hangar and anything else?
Right now, the non-leased properties, sorry, that are shown in this area.
Yeah.
The only thing that we have that we're developing is that small general aviation hangar that's not included in this plan. Yeah.
So to satisfy your suggestion, it would be to include the general aviation hangar, which is at the the top left of the screen.
Yeah.
I do think there was one other ancillary goal here, is that we weren't trying to make wholesale changes here yet. One thing we're trying to do here is, like you said, keep it simple, because all we're really coming in for approval for is making the training center bigger and making the manufacturing space bigger. Those are the two goals of this master plan. Next year,
amendment, right?
This master plan amendment, exactly.
So it seems
This
like
may get blown out of the water in the next year or so once we start to learn more.
Yeah, I think fine. We're amending the existing master plan, which had the intent of these areas, right? If you're coming in, maybe in the future, for a new master plan, right, or whatever, I think there's going to be a bigger discussion about who really is the owner of the land, how we can plan development on the airport property.
Yeah.
In concurrence with each other.
Yeah, I agree.
so we're not working across purposes too, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's an issue, because again, airport stuff is usually to the north and to the south, but in the end, right? That was the issue with the Eagle Drive, right? It's not part of this master plan, but it's somehow right next to it. How's that possible? Okay.
That feels like decent feedback, like, either at this master plan amendment or at the future. Potentially at this master plan amendment, as we continue this discussion, think about what if we need to include the general aviation hangar in this master plan amendment. And also, definitely think about that for a future master plan amendment.
Okay. Can you live with that, Charlie?
Yep.
Okay. Let's move on. We are bumping up against our time deadline soon. So let's do a couple Let's move on to number 2. This is around site amenities. Number 2 is about how to meet the site amenity and civic space requirements.
If you could go to an exhibit I sent today, I don't know if you were able to pull it in, but we'll give a basic overview. We're not going to have everything laid out perfectly. It's
Right.
just concepts at this point. We will have more detail on exactly what we're doing and where it's going to be. But we've already done somewhat of a space analysis. So if you go back to that last exhibit you had, if you zoom into the front entrance to the big building and zoom down a little bit, this space is, so if you look just, if you go to the number 14 and just go a little bit to the left, that area right there is the site amenity space that we're proposing for this expansion. It's a little unique in that our A bill didn't have the site amenity requirement at the time, but we did come back for subdivision where we provided it in the lawn area. But this area is the new main entryway to the building, and it's the area has been sized appropriately. We'll give you some more details in the next hearing, but there's a 2-tiered entryway being explored. Similar to last time, there's a kind of this atrium effect where there's seating that leads down to a patio where there's seating. There's a place for people to eat outside, all within the area. So that's number 1, satisfy the site amenity requirement for that building. And that would actually meet the 6% requirement. The next thing I would move over to, one thing that we've changed is number 8 used to be we used to have that dedicated as like a solar array. As you can see from our rooftop, like we have so much space on our roof, we don't need solar arrays in the ground. So we're strongly considering doing a larger civic space over there, concert space, gazebos. You know, the ideas are still kind of floating, but we're really thinking about that space being an area for our civic space. And then finally, the training center, if you go up on the page, there is, it's a little hard to describe, but just left of 9. And this isn't illustrated completely yet, but that whole area actually comes up 7 feet, and it's going to be this patio that's overlooking the wetland, which would be the site amenity there. The space is a little constricted there, but we do have some already. We already have site amenity in the rain garden to the west that had a dish more than what we needed for that first building. So between all that, we think we can meet the site amenity requirement pretty easily. Civic space, there's a few things there. We can expand the solar arrays area to try to get as much as we can. We also have a path along the wetland that could be considered civic space. So those are the types of things we're considering at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Clarify the path. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jody.
So if you follow that kind of gray line along Da Vinci Drive, it is right now a 5-foot sidewalk that is there for people to walk down, walk along. It does connect the campus, but it also gives place for people to just walk at lunchtime and enjoy the wetlands.
That was a required sidewalk for the street.
And yes, and also could act as a path.
Okay, I don't think that you can take credit for something that's otherwise required as part of the street.
Okay. Good to know.
All right. Any other questions before we take one more comment? Okay, number 3. This is about the Eagle Drive and Da Vinci Drive intersection. Why the modification? Describe the reason for the modification, please.
Oh, we talked about that earlier. There's no modification there.
Okay. All right. Let's just do number 4. Is it public or let's see. The greenway is a permitted type of civic space, and it appears the applicant is in need of approvable civic space. Is it public? Is the public rec path still proposed?
No, the public rec path, gets removed due to the expansion of that building. And so that's why we'd be looking for civic space elsewhere on the site.
Okay, all right.
That's part of why we expanded the, extent to the master plans to try to, allow for some of that civic space.
Okay, got it, got
The
it.
civic space in the area labeled 8. Have you done the math on that for civic space? 10% of floor area?
Yeah, for the full master plan, we would have to expand that. I mean, these are all things that we're now, that you brought them up, we're gonna start considering. Maybe you lose more parking, we come up with a path in a different area. Those are things that we have to work through, and we'll provide that the next hearing.
So that's why it's called sketch. Okay, I'm afraid we're at time and we still have to do minutes and other business. And I'm gonna ask if there are any members of the public who want to make comments on this proposal. Either, are there any people in the audience or online?
No, not.
Okay. So if we continue, because we're continuing this, Marla, what would the date be?
Similar to the previous applications, no one needs to do any additional work, so we can just continue to the 17th.
Maybe.
Of March, and everyone has to wear green, is that right? Okay, so I would entertain a motion to continue SK 2604 until March 17th, 2026.
So moved.
Pardon?
Second.
Okay, great. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Right, hi.
Aye. Opposed? No? Okay. We will see you back here on St. Patrick's Day.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. So, we now have the minutes. Of Oops.
I vote to approve minutes of 2/18/2026.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Unanimous. Any other business?
Other business, we will see you plan on a deliberation on the 17th for the members who are.
Okay. Now, the deliberation is just for
You're not invited.
I'm not invited. Okay. So I'll see you in the auditorium at 7.
Yeah.
So I know it's been a long night for everybody. Thank you for hanging in there, and thank you, Mark, for carrying the load.
No problem. I can
thank
do
you.
it once every 10 years.
Well, if you hang in for another 10, you get another cake.
Next week.
So, and Marla, all the work that you and Alex did to put all this together, it's amazing. So, okay.
Hey, Dawn, can you hang in there for a second
Sure.
after you end the meeting?
The meeting is, I am declaring the meeting adjourned.